All right, hello everybody, and welcome back to the Bourbon Bar. I'm Holden, and today Lauren is not with me because we are going to have a very special guest coming on here. However, we are just going to get started quick without him before I add him into the thing. Kind of give you guys an overview of what's going down. Hanging Aziz in the chat, Tipsy Whiskey's in the back room hanging out, ready, waiting for me to add him to this live stream. But we're not going to dilly dally here. Make sure the audio works, and it does, so I'm all set on that front. And yeah, basically today we're going to be playing a game, and it's going to be a Matt Madness style kind of game, me versus Tipsy Whiskey's Steven. So I'm ready, he's ready, we're going to go ahead and add him into here, and we're just going to get it right into it.
Hello, guys.
Hello,
The heck
Steven.
is that?
How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Fantastic. We're going to be going head to head, so I hope you're prepared for an epic battle. 4 whiskeys, 4 questions per whiskey, and then a bottle guess at the end. It's kind of just a good time, so I hope everyone's excited. 4 Leaf Whiskey is in the chat. Cheers to you. I have a Glen here of
Cheers, Stacy.
Lauren says she's been replaced. Unfortunately, you have, but you know. You're always going to be there. I know you're in the other room watching, so don't feel too left out. Jake is in the house. Cheers, all I'm driving, but I'll be listening in. Well, don't get in an accident, but we're glad to have you here with us. And yeah, so basically, everybody, we have a little game going on. It's going to be the same rules as I've always done it, but now I have a competitor, and it is Steven from Tipsy Whiskey Shenanigans. Before we get started, anyone who's on here, which I know most of you already are, but if you're not subscribed to Tipsy Whiskey Shenanigans, wow, it's a mouthful. Imagine
I know, right?
A bunch.
We didn't anticipate that when we created the name. It's a huge oversight, but it's too late in the game to like go back and change it. Gone too far.
It's a good name though, honestly. Like. It holds true to the whole gist of this community and stuff, but
at least live stream wise,
true.
Things get a little off the rail.
Yeah, when I live streamed with Anthony Bourbon Neophyte, we ended up streaming for I think 3 hours, and then we got off and we stayed in the back room for another hour and a half with Sean from Whiskey Wars.
Oh yeah,
and so like his time, in Las Vegas, it was like, I don't know, 11 o'clock. My time, it was like 1:30 in the morning, and I had to work at 5 in the morning. And needless to say, I had literally about 15 different bottles on my bar here that I had drank that night because we got in the back room and we were talking. And, I just kind of like, they pulled out a bottle and I'm like, oh, I have that one. And I pulled it out. And they pulled out another one and I pulled that one out. And then we were just drinking all night. It was a rough, but it was a good time. But yeah, anyway, as I was saying, guys, go subscribe.
It's crazy.
Yeah, go subscribe to Tipsy Whiskey Shenanigans. But I'm going to go ahead and let Steven in on the... Ooh, is that...
By the way, have you had this yet? This is the new Whistle Pig Piggyback Bourbon. I mean, it's just 6-year-old MGP.
Piggyback Bourbon. They had a Piggyback Rye, right?
Yeah. So I think this is their first bourbon. It's like extremely new. I haven't seen it anywhere on the shelves. I tried looking up reviews of it yesterday because I was out trying to look for like new releases yesterday from like this year. And I saw it and I was like, well, it's only 6-year-old 100 proof MGP. But I was like, I've literally seen nothing about it. So I was like, I have to buy it and like, I got to do the right thing and tell you guys what I think about it.
You'll put out a review on it.
Yeah, I'll likely Tuesday, somewhere around there. I also should be doing a review of the new barrel, whatever product, the Mizunara cask finish.
Oh, yeah. It's like that orange and white label,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. I just don't have that one with me just yet, so haven't filmed it yet.
I see you've been, you're a little bit deep in that bottle of Piggyback. What are your...
Oh, I bought it yesterday, and I was just trying to get it some air. I mean, it's $45. It's okay. I like the rye better.
Yeah.
I'm one of the few people who likes the rye though. Like I'm like the rye is actually pretty good for what it is.
You like Whistle Pig rye or Piggyback rye?
The Whistle Pig Piggyback rye.
Okay. Because yeah, I know Whistle Pig is a huge name, but a lot of people get turned off by the price of it. So you know, it's one of those things where who knows if the bourbon's going to be good. But for $45, that doesn't sound too bad.
Yeah, I mean, there's not really a lot to lose there.
Right. All right. Well, we are going to go ahead and I'm going to let you know on these questions that we're going to be following here. So it's 8 questions. They're going to be mixed up throughout this. The first question is going to be, is it a bourbon or a rye? It's just a simple one. I don't really have any like scotches or anything on like that. So there's no need for bourbon, scotch, or rye. It's just bourbon or rye. Basically 50-50 chance. Then we have state of distillation. So basically, wherever it's distilled, try to guess the state. Then we have proof. You get plus or minus 5 proof points on the proof. So whatever you think, and this will be different. So don't be smelling or tasting any of these in between, because it's one of those things where you smell it and you're like, oh yeah, that's 110 proof, 115 proof, and then you taste it and it's only like 90 proof, but you mess up. So we also have age, which is plus or minus 1 year on the age department. Mash bill. What I do for mash bill is kind of it's more like, is it a wheated bourbon? Is it like it's kind of like the order. So bourbon rye barley, or bourbon wheat barley, or 4-grain bourbon wheat rye barley, or like stuff like that. Then a finish, yes or no, simple one. Price plus or minus $5, and we go off of MSRP, whatever Breaking Bourbon or the internet says MSRP is. And then last but not least, distillery / company. So if it's Woodford Reserve, it's Woodford Reserve, not Brown-Forman. So it's either Woodford Reserve or Old Forester. It wouldn't be Brown-Forman, wouldn't be the correct one. So, all right. That being said.
Wait, so we're going through each one, and then we have 30 seconds to answer each one of these?
Yes. So how it's going to work is I'm going to say first glass, you're going to go A through D on the nose, and A through D on the nose again. There's 2 nosing rounds. Then we're going to get into the tasting rounds, go A through D taste, A through D taste, and it'll be like, on glass A on the nose, is this a bourbon or a rye? And then we'll have 30 seconds to smell it and write, well, you'll tell me and I'll write it down, but don't tell me until after I write my own down, because I need to. That way I'm not cheating off of you. But then we'll go glass B, 30 seconds, state of distillation. You'll have 30 seconds to smell it, give me an answer, and then I'll write it down in my little book here, and then we're going to go through all those, through that twice, do the same thing with the palate, 30 seconds tasting twice, and then 3 minutes at the end of the game. We'll have a bottle guessing round, and we'll just try to give you a pick at what you think it was. I know you can kind of see a little bit of my whiskeys behind me, but I have more over there. So I might have a little bit of an advantage than you, but, you have a pretty advanced palate, so.
Okay, advanced.
Yeah, AZ put his link in the chat, guys, so click that link and hit subscribe. Yeah, well, I mean, when I say advanced, I mean, you've definitely been at this a bit longer than I have, only 23, so only really been in the collecting game about a year. I have been drinking whiskey since I turned 21, but as far as diving into differences, it's only been about roughly a year. But I feel like I picked on pretty quick. But like I said, you do pretty good when you guys play your games and do blinds and stuff. So I wouldn't count you out.
Sometimes.
But that being said, 21090 is in the house. Cheers, 21090.
Cheers.
All right, we're going to go ahead and go on the first round, on the nosing round. So do you have them all poured out in your glens?
Yes, I do now.
Okay, perfect. So I'm going to get my clock up here. Go 30 seconds on the clock. All right. So, and this isn't a bulletproof plan because Lauren's the one who wrote the questions, so she doesn't really know which bottles are age stated, which bottles
I know how
have
it goes.
information on it. Yeah, so it's going to be at the end of this, if there's ever a situation where non-age stated, not even speculation, then we just kind of we will come to an agreement on how we want to work that out.
Yeah, we had a flight where Olivia poured it for me and Alec, and she just wrote Makers 46 on it. And I was like, cash strength, yay or nay? Because like mine and Alex, like I guess 90 proof, and Alec guessed 110. So I was like,
oh, yeah, right.
Which one of us is right?
Yep, that'll happen. Luckily, I don't think I have too many in that scenario. But she's usually pretty good on writing this, and she's right in the other room. I can call her and she can tell me.
Yeah.
That being said, we're going to go ahead and pick up glass A. On the nose, we'll have 30 seconds when I say go. And the question for glass A is going to be state of distillation. So you're going to be smelling it, trying to determine the state of distillation. Kentucky, Indiana, maybe even, I have some Wisconsin bottles in here. So you never know.
So before this starts, guys, full disclosure, never done this, never done anything like this on time. So bear with me.
When time gets a factor, it definitely, because you really have to, I'll give you a hint, is you really have to zone in and focus. One problem that I have that I actually do sometimes is I'll smell it and I'll start like thinking of notes and trying to bottle guess like in my mind. But all I really need is to be smelling things that like telltale signs that it's MGP or something that I recognize from Kentucky. Whereas,
or is it Texas-y?
Yeah, exactly. If you get stuck on a bottle sometimes, it'll ruin your whole glass because from this first nosing round, you'll have a bottle picked out in your mind and then you'll go through it and then it'll be the wrong bottle and you just lost 4 points in all the questions. So that being said, state of distillation on the nose, glass A, 3, 2, 1, go. Ooh. Smells good.
Yeah, whatever. I like it. I'm not trying to give any notes.
I know, right? Well, there's not too much writing on this, but bragging rights, so. Time is up. I'm going to write my answer down first. All right, and then what was your guess for that one?
I did Indiana.
Indiana. All right. And for those of you wondering, I did Kentucky. So odds are
I was like teeter-tottering. I was like, it's sweet. It smells good. I'm getting red fruit, sweetness, but I was like, didn't get any like specific ones. And I'm like, well, if I'm going sweet, I'm going straight into Indiana.
And a while back, I would have probably just Kentucky's more consistent because I have less MGPs on the shelf. But recently I've been getting some new bottles and stuff and some more MGPs. So at this point, it's like I can't even really hedge my bets that much. And what's funny though is looking at this, I don't know if you guys are able to tell, but my glass D, Lauren just had the heaviest hand. I mean, this pour in glass D is literally so full, and glass A has like half that. But that being said,
hey, when they're fuller, they're easier to nose.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll see. I guess we'll see how it plays out. I don't have covers for these. I never have, which almost gives me an advantage. I mean, I think that them airing out and changing over time. When I sit down and I taste whiskey, a lot of times it takes me a little bit to drink them, and so they tend to air out. So I'm actually more familiar sometimes with notes after the glass gets some air in it. So, whereas I think you have covers on them, or do you not?
Yeah, I do. Now you got me second guessing all this stuff. This is all like so new to me. Like I've done the whole like, guess a bottle, guess tight proof, but I've never had to be like, you have 30 seconds to wing it. Like it's always like, hey, you can nose it, think about it, taste it, think about it, and then write down your decisions. I go more like these are more of the, I mean, we're kind of both like borrowing rules, but like I go the more whole like poor guesses route, where you're going more of like ADHD,
exactly,
madness route.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, they're both good. They're fun. I'm excited, but I'm nervous, and I'm a super competitive person. So like,
oh yeah,
I'm like overthinking it now, because I'm like, I gotta beat him.
Honestly, I'm very competitive as well. So it's like, I mean, it's nice to beat you. I do have an unfair advantage knowing the bottles that I have, and I do this about every other week with Lauren, so I do have some practice with this. However, like I said, in terms of whiskey drinking experience, I think you've got me. How long have you been in the actual? I know YouTube. You started about a year-ish, almost a year before I had started. But how long have you been like drinking whiskey, where you're tasting stuff and you're buying a bunch of different bottles, and got into it?
I would say about 2.5 years.
2.5 years.
So like I started getting into whiskey like really, really heavily about like 6 or 7 months into the whole shit show of 2020. And that's so I would say about 2 years now, maybe 2.25 actually, now that I do the math, somewhere around there. I started the YouTube channel premature. If I'm an adequate like whiskey consumer now, or like I'm confident with the notes and stuff, when we first started the channel, it was like 3 months of just like wing it in it until now I'm confident in it. But like back then I was like, wow, that was hard.
Yeah, honestly, same here.
I've noticed the same thing. You're way more confident with your videos and your notes now compared to your first one. I was like, bro, a little cringy, but
the first one. Oh my gosh, that video! I keep it on my channel to humble me. You have to go back and watch it. And I don't know how many times I've watched Bourbon Junkies. I go back to their like very first couple videos, and I just like I watch it, and it just makes me feel so much better. Like, even though they were much more naturally charismatic behind the camera, they still, I mean, they're slightly awkward. The quality was just not there, and it's just like, everyone has to start somewhere. And I wanted to be into this, and I wanted to do the YouTube thing. And honestly, it's kind of the boom of whiskey tube. So time was almost of the essence. I feel like if I would have started any later, I might have not even been able to grow, I mean, as fast as I did. And I'm still not huge by any means, but I'm working my way there slowly. So
yeah, it's gotten stagnant recently.
Yeah, for sure. But I think it's kind of, there's so many channels right now, and there's a lot of people doing it. So it's like, it's almost oversaturated, but at the same time, everyone who has a channel, I mean, they're all great people. They're awesome people. And it's like, I would never want anyone to not do it, because so far everyone that I've met has been awesome. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Without a doubt.
Yeah. Top Shelf Dustin's in the chat. Cheers, Top Shelf Dustin. Thanks for stopping in. And all right. Out. Yeah. We're going to go ahead and get on to Glass B. So we're going to do Glass B on the nose. And then there's a little bit of whiskey on my glass, and now I'm writing on the notebook. But Glass B on the nose is question, what is a proof? So we'll have 30 seconds once I say go to determine the proof of Glass B.
Proof on the nose?
Only on the nose, indeed. It's, like I said, it's humbling doing the nose first, going into the palate, because the palate, you taste it and you're just like, that nose was so wrong. But, some whiskeys are better than others. All right, 30 seconds. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's send it.
All right, 3, 2, 1, go. Ooh. Okay.
Love it. Smells great.
No, I told Lauren, I'm like, pick out 2 of like my nicer, more expensive bottles, and then 2 of like still good but whatever. All right, I'm going to go with. I'm sticking at 104 proof. What did you get? What did you do?
110.
110.
It's kind of hard because I was focusing more on like the ethanol burn instead of the notes. Because I thought that had more impact. I was like, this isn't like 120, 130, but it doesn't feel like 100. It felt somewhere more of like 105 to 115 maybe, and I just kind of split the difference with the 110.
It definitely smelled like it had body, and but I wanted to hedge my bet a little bit. So I did that 104, kind of bring me down to the 101 and 100 proof. And then it also brings me up to 109, which I guess.
Oh, yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah. So that's another thing is hedging. I mean, sometimes it bites you in the ass. You hedge the bet the wrong way, but proof is plus or minus 5. So.
Yeah, well, you'll also know more of which directions you can hedge per se, because you know, like, hey, how many bottles do I have that are like 110, 115 ish range? Because like me, I have quite a bit of those because that's like that's one of my favorite proof ranges.
Oh yeah, for sure. What how many bottles are you up to now? Do you know offhand?
Allegedly, I don't know. It's getting close to like 150, but I'm slowing down with the bottles I'm buying. And I say that, but I'm also like, I'm getting more explorative, so I'm starting to buy some weird stuff and
some less expensive maybe.
Yeah, less Kentucky. I'm getting away from budget bourbons so much.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, those videos don't do well, but American single malts, unfortunately, extremely expensive. So
yeah,
just
for sure. It's like you can either choose a video that does well, whiskey that you like, and then sometimes you get that middle ground, which is where you like to be. But sometimes you just have to buy a bottle that, even though you may not like it, it's going to hit the video marks. And sometimes you just need to buy the bottle just for yourself, and it won't do good on video, but it'll be good to drink. So I've definitely noticed I'm in the same boat. I only have, I think, around 50 bottles. So
it'll grow quick.
Yeah, it definitely has. I got.
I know you started the channel with like 2 bottles, right?
Yeah, I had maybe 3. I think around like the 3 or 4 range. It was like Elijah Craig, Maker's 46, 1792 full proof. I got that one pretty early on, and then I think one more, and it was a Jepson's bourbon that I had gotten in Chicago, and they were all really good, but I knew I needed to grow, and then so I started doing the whole whiskey tube. I need 4 whiskeys to make a blind video, and I need 4 whiskeys for a comparison video. If I get 4 bottled and bonds that are all the same price, I can do a budget video and a bottled and bond video. Like
and then you start buying whiskey you don't give a shit about, and you don't need to drink. And I'm at that point where I'm done buying whiskey for a video because I just don't care anymore. Because I have so much whiskey that I'm like, I can either make it with what I have or maybe buy a bottle, but I'm done doing the whole okay, well, I need 3 bottle and bonds for this, so I'm gonna buy it's like you want the whole you want the video concept to get tied up in a beautiful package. And so you're kind of like, okay, well, in order to make it the most sense, they all need to be bottled and bond, but you could just say 100 proof whiskeys. And then that opens up your concept way bigger. I don't know. It's one of those things you want it to make all sense, but sometimes you're just like, okay, I have 4 whiskeys and I'm going to taste them together and see which one's best.
Yeah, which is kind of one of my favorite parts about this game is these don't have to be anything alike. Besides the fact that I told Lauren to pick up some good bottles, that's about all I know about these 4 whiskeys. So, like the other day, she had put a Blanton's in a blind against things that weren't close to Blanton's. Mm-hmm. And let me tell you, I think I put Blanton's last or in third place, and I did not speak highly of it either. It was, it's just
Bland's does not hold up in blinds for me.
No.
That being said, are we going to rank these two?
We will. I mean, okay. We will just for fun.
I like doing that. Just for fun.
Yeah, it's like then you kind of have your favorites, and then you can be surprised when the time comes. But we'll go ahead and we'll get Glass C on the nose now. And the question for Glass C is going to be distillery/company. So what distillery, does this smell like?
And so like Wild Turkey, MGP.
Yeah. Right, exactly.
And away we go.
30 seconds, go.
Not a clue.
Oh, it smells...
It smells crafty.
Yeah, this one's different. I don't even know what to think about this one.
It's either youthful or craftiness, but it's different. I don't even know where to begin.
I like.
I don't mind it. It's just
there's a very light fruity. Time's up. I'm going to go with. I'm going with this.
I'm processing. I'm trying to cheat off of your bottles.
Yeah, unfortunately, these are all the great ones.
Man. I know this is not going to make sense to any of the notes I just said, but I wrote it.
All right, what'd you get?
I wrote Buffalo Trace just because it's sweet, graham crackery. I wasn't getting any Heaven Hill, Wild Turkey, cinnamon notes. I didn't get any banana for Brown Foreman or Barton, and it smells kind of crafty though. Do you honestly have any local craft stuff?
I do, but it's not. I think that I can confidently say it's not either one of the Wisconsin ones that I have, because those have a very distinct smell. Mm-hmm. Usually.
Yeah.
Well, one of them smells a little different, and the palate is a little different. So until I taste it, I won't know for sure. But I don't think that it was. I said MGP, by the way.
So you're kind of going on the whole sweetness track. I was in between MGP or Buffalo Trace, and I was like, well, you do have quite a little bit of Buffalo Trace right there. So I was like,
right. Yeah, well, I mean, this is kind of my Buffalo Trace shelf.
Oh, well.
Heaven Hill, and then this is my favorites that I have all together. Then up there, it's kind of, these are all my more allocated, I guess, bottles, whereas all the mainstays are all over on that shelf. But
yeah, and your Brother Bond is 40 proof, right?
Brothers Bond is 40 proof, but I have a Brothers Bond cask strength. It's 80 proof, 40%. I have Brothers Bond cask strength, and that comes in at 117.
Oh, no. That smelled around 105 or so. Yeah. Maybe 110, maybe 100. I don't know. It's kind of hard to.
Light fruit. I almost from initial smell, the first thing I thought was maybe a green apple type situation, mm-hmm. But it also was just blatantly powdered sugar sweetness as well. So it was just it was just really sweet. But once you said Buffalo Trace, I kind of was thinking maybe a Sazerac. I don't drink Sazerac a lot. I honestly don't even drink Buffalo Trace very often either, just many of them. But I guess the sweetness of that, I always got something really sweet on Saz, but I wasn't particularly looking for rye notes. So like I said, 30 seconds, you have to just, choose what you want and then just go with it and hope that you're okay.
Yeah, it was sweet and had a funky graham cracker note. That's about all I took away from it.
Right. Doom, cheers. Thanks for stopping in. I think Ooga Booga, that might be Abdul, but I'm not entirely sure. He never really answers me when I ask him who it is. But we're going to go ahead and move on to Glass D on the nose.
Glass D. Let's go.
The question for Glass D on the nose is Price, and Price has plus or minus $5. So this is going to be based off MSRP. So if it's Blanton's, it would be 60 or 65,
50
whatever.
or 60.
Yeah. And also like some of these, I get from places it's jacked up a little bit, but I will be going off at the end. We'll like Google MSRP, and that's what it'll end up being. So
what it should be.
Yeah, what it should be exactly. Price, 30 seconds on the clock. Ready, set, go. And time. Oops. Okay, I am going with this price. All right, what'd you get for price?
I went 60.
60. All right, and I went 70. So if it ends up being 65, we're gonna end up tying that one. But
rock, paper, scissors it.
Yeah, the funny thing about price is you stop looking for notes and you start looking for body, complexity, and stuff that should indicate price. But then there's always those exceptions where you get those budget hitters that are always very full-bodied, or you get those expensive ones that are just not up to snuff. So those are always a hard one to determine price.
Yeah, and that one, it smelled relatively put together.
Right.
Wasn't super complex or anything like that. So
I was like, proof in there. So, and proof is another thing. You gotta.
Yeah, proof.
Proof a lot of times are gonna be a little bit more pricey than. I mean, honestly, if it's near that cask strength profile, you can almost shove it above $50 right away, unless it's like some of those budget hitters, like I said. But
yeah, it was a proof that put me at the whole $60 because like it smells like there's a bit of an ethanol burn on that. The flavors aren't bad by any means, so it's not something that's like proof just to be proof, like benchmark full proof or something like that. So I was like, 60-ish, somewhere around there maybe.
Yep. All right. That is the first round done. So now we're going to be going back to Glass A, and this also gets very interesting because
I forgot.
Glass A, you go into naked, and then you go and you run through them all, and you go back to A. It could be something completely different than what you smelled the first time. But that being said, we're going to go ahead and pick up Glass A. On the nose, round 2 for the nose, and the question for that is age. And age, you get plus or minus 1 year. So 30 seconds.
You're not making these easy.
Yeah. 30 seconds is on the clock. 3, 2, 1, go. Okay. I think I got it. And time. Okay, I'm going with...
I just want to drink these already.
I know, right?
I've never been this far into a live stream without drinking whiskey.
Yeah, I have Larceny Barrel Proof C921 over here that I had Lauren pick out a bottle for me that she didn't put in the blind, so I have something to sip on for center of the road whiskey and just to keep my palate warmed up. So if you would need to pour yourself a glass just to sip on while we're going, feel free to do that. Hey, wow. Says, Penelope, what are you big timing me? He says Penelope, and it makes me think about I have Penelope Architect over on the other shelf, and I don't know. Could be in this blind. Handy Z says I have a blind from Market Northwest Bourbon I need to dig into. I just don't feel much like drinking today. Well, it's almost not even your time to drink yet, hanging AZ. It's not even 5, so.
Yeah, it's 4:30.
Yeah, it's pretty early for you. I'm surprised that you could get in here.
Yeah, luckily. That's why I'm normally not here. I'm usually right about now. I'm at the gym working out. I just went to the gym before work this morning. That way I could, do this.
That works. So thanks for doing that. I went to the gym before this, and then I ended up making chili. But it's like, I wish that I could go on at like 8 o'clock, like most people do, and then I would be able to like live stream at night. But I wake up at 5 in the morning for work, and sleep is just something that I covet too near and dear to my heart that I don't want to give it up. I'm pretty strict about my sleep schedule, so.
Yeah, the only reason I'm ever at that time is because that time for us is 6 p.m.
Yeah.
Or right. Like it's like 6 or 7. The latest we've ever done was 8, and that was once. And then as soon as I did it like behind camera, I was like, all right, guys, bye. And it just started shutting everything off while I was talking to everyone. I was like, okay, I gotta go.
You got your pajamas on. I never got your answer for the year statement on that glass.
I did 10.
10. That's pretty different from mine, and I did 5. So that's gonna be one to question. I'm thinking of all the 10 years I have.
It didn't smell youthy, so I wanted my go-to was going to be 9, but again, like you said, covering the bet, I was like 9 might be a little bit too young.
Right. Yeah. And it's one of those things where like I have the advantage of knowing what I have, and I guess I have more bottles closer to that 5-year and 6-year range than I have close to the 10-year. Because once I get to the 10-year, it's most of them are like the 12 or 15 or 16, whatever.
Okay.
So I have a pretty big gap in there.
Well, I made a mistake. I was hedging the whole 6, 8, 12-year-old blend, but I guess at that point you can't really put a number on because it didn't feel super youthful or anything.
No, it definitely
so I was like,
felt like it was put together well. But another hard part is, since I'm so choosy with what I buy, I usually like a lot of it, and I don't usually buy stuff that's
like crappy 6-year-old products.
Yeah, like if someone puts out a review and they say this is swill, it's not worth the $50. I usually am like, well, good, I don't need to buy it then.
Yeah.
Or even if it's something that I haven't seen before, I kind of stick closer to I'm hunting a lot, so like I got the Yellowstone, I got the Woodford Reserve batch proof, and I got the Little Book all within like 3 days of each other because they all kind of came out relatively close. And so like I can find good bottles if I put my head down and I search hard enough, and then I kind of run out of money to buy the less good bottles. So it's one of those scenarios.
How's that Yellowstone? I passed up on it for 110, I think it was.
Yeah. It's
just, I didn't read anything great about it. It was like, it's okay.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on your palate. I honestly liked it a lot. I ranked it pretty well. I think my lack of having bottles of that, superiorness plays into that because, all the people who they've had the Pappies, they've had the super expensive, like George T. Staggs, they've had like the, but basically every allocated bottle in the world, then they're tasting that and comparing it to something else at that price range. And they're like, it's okay, it does a trick. But I'm over here like, I have a solid 3 or 4 bottles at that caliber that are over the $100 threshold. So in terms of how it lives up to those, it does pretty well. So I think it's worth it if you have the budget. But if you're just not in the market for that kind of bottle, it's something that I don't think you're gonna miss. And who knows? Maybe it's in this blind. I had it when Lauren poured them, so it could be in here, and you could have a taste of it.
So if you compare it to Calumet like 15, where's it at? Because Calumet 15 is like readily available for like $110 here. So
yeah, I think it has more going on than Calumet 15. I think depending on your palate, in Calumet 15, I just get so much cherries. Like Lauren had it in a blind for me during one of these games, and on the first or second smell, I had said it's Calumet 15, and I consistently said that till the end, and I bottle guessed it right because it's distinctly cherry oak, a little bit of spice and caramel, but I think the Yellowstone definitely has more to offer than that. It kind of got some really nice like leathery notes on the finish. Also, it's finished in Marsala Superiore casks, so a very like full-bodied, I believe, wine. Yeah, I mean, it's good. It's better. I would say it's better than Calumet 15, which is a risky, bold statement. But I think it depends on personal preference.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, I've never had it, or at least I don't know if I've had it yet. So you could be right. I passed up on it because I looked up some reviews and I was like,
I know.
I have to buy tires.
Yeah. Before I bought it, I was like, I tried looking up reviews on it, and there was one review, and it was just it was by a guy. Can't remember his name, but he had reviewed King of Kentucky and this Yellowstone because he had little sample bottles of it. He was the only person who had a review on it when I bought it, and I was like, well, I'm gonna be one of the first ones now. But now I've seen some other people put it out. I know Mash and Drum said that he thought it was nice. He said that in his review, which I think he put out today or yesterday or something, he had said that it was nice, it was worth it, but it's like basically the same thing I said. It's if you think that you would like it, buy it, but otherwise it's not, run out and buy another one. So.
Okay, yeah. So it's not incredible. It's just, it's good.
It's not going to be, I can't speak for everyone, but I doubt it'll be in a lot of people's end of the year blinds.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't really have an end of year blind because I hardly ever buy any of those limited, allocated, whatever. The whole hunting game, I just don't care about anymore.
Yeah. I'm still in that rut where it's like every time I know bottles coming out, I go to the liquor store every single day after work just to check the shelf, just the once. I literally, it's between my work and the gym, so I stop in, run in. I'm in the store for less than 30 seconds. I see if it's on the allocated area, and if it's not, I walk out. So I can usually get some allocated bottles, but I still don't have a lot. But my end of the year blinds is more of a whiskey that I bought this year. So if I would have bought this 1920 this year and had it for the first time this year, it would go on my end of the year blind.
Okay. Yeah, and I think I'm going to have to do that this year because I have a lot of stuff I've purchased. Like, for example, Calumet 15. It was the last year release. I just bought it this year. I think it's incredible.
Yeah, I think my Maker's Mark FEO2, I got that this year, and I love that bottle. I actually hardly drank it.
That's my favorite Maker's.
Is it?
Yeah.
That
I've had so far.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I feel like I don't have enough bottles to really, and I haven't tried enough for the first time. So it's like I keep getting all these bottles that I haven't tried before, and I can put them in end of the year blinds because for me, it was a new bottle. So.
Fair enough.
That's kind of how I do it. That being said, let's go ahead and get on to Glass B, second round of nosing. Glass B's second nosing question will be, is this a bourbon or a rye? So a pretty simple one. We're going to put 30 seconds on the clock, starting in 3, 2, 1.
We're nosing, right?
Yep, nosing.
Oh, I don't even know what I'm guessing. Sorry. I
bourbon or rye? Oh, no, sorry. It's okay.
Bourbon or rye. I was reading whiskey or Four Leaf Whiskey's comment about just extending your shelves. It adds up faster than you expect. Because I was like, yeah, ain't that true? And then as soon as you said it, I was like, what? Wait, what? We're doing whiskey?
Sorry.
Okay.
I was kind
bourbon or rye, 30 seconds.
Or rye. Okay. Ready, go.
Sorry about that.
No, that's all good.
Ooh.
This is one of my favorite questions for the nose because there's always some specific notes that throw you off. And done. All right. What's your guess?
I'm going bourbon on this one.
Bourbon. I was on the fence, but I ended up going with rye. So one of us will be getting a point during that one.
Yeah, I was like, it's either a high corn rye or a high rye bourbon.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I was teeter-tottering. It was
I think
sweet.
it could be a finished whiskey. I think it had something in there that
do you have any finished rye?
Yeah, I don't typically get in bourbon. So I think a finish might have thrown me off there, but all part of the game.
I was hedging. There's not a lot of finished rye, so I don't really consider that.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, well, like let's play with what is the most likely answer, which is it's either a bourbon or rye. There's not a lot of finished ryes out there that are like well known. I may or may not have sent you a finished rye, allegedly. Ooh. That's actually incredible. It's like one of my favorite finished ryes.
Interesting. I have a High West double rye finish in Manhattan barrels on the shelf. So Lauren might have snuck that in here. It's very possible. Stacy says you should just extend your shelves now. It adds up faster than. Oh yeah, that's what Stephen was talking about. Yeah,
which you totally need to. I did this when I went to drill sergeant school, and these shelves were not completely filled when I got back. Now they're completely filled to like the alternating one level or one line because I don't want to overload the shelves. And then I built this. I mean, I did this mostly just fill a room and fill the space better, but like.
Yeah,
it's already full. I have stuff in the cabinet down here now too. Like it just happens.
Yep. The one thing that gets me is money. I'm first of all spending an assload of money on whiskey because how can you not? And then me and Lauren are engaged, and now we're saving up for the wedding. We're also saving up for a house. I also just got kicked off of my parents' health insurance, which I'm only 23, so I'm getting $300 taken out of my bank every month to pay for my own health insurance because I have a really bad health insurance. So the bills have added up, but I've consistently been able to buy bourbon. But it's like every time I looked at buying some nicer shelves or even a nicer camera. I mean, I'm using a GoPro right now, an old GoPro, like a Hero 5.
Yeah.
But
yeah, like 9 generations old.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Every time I want to go buy a new piece of equipment for like the set of Bourbon Bar or something like that, I find Woodford Batch Proof or something, or Bardstown Discovery Series. It's like, well, I could have bought a couple shelves for that $150 I just spent, but instead I'll buy one bottle of whiskey to do one review on. But I wanted it, so I bought it anyway.
Yeah.
Kind of eats away at the money, but
it happens.
It's something I'll build up eventually. It's definitely a work in progress, and it's slowly getting there.
Oh yeah, it all takes time.
Yeah, and once I am actually planning on getting a second job this winter, because in summer I have so much to do. I golf all the time. I'm always in the gym. I'm always outside doing stuff. But then in the winter, I'm like a hermit. I know you're in Arizona, so like it's not as
like
much.
The opposite.
Yeah, in Wisconsin, it's like, well, you can either put on 50 layers of clothes and walk outside in negative 30-degree temperatures and wait around in snow that's up to your knees, or you can just stay inside and drink whiskey. So I vote stay inside and drink whiskey. But once I get a second job like that, I'll have an entire job dedicated to YouTube money.
What Stacy said, so the bottom comment from Stacy: find someone replacing a deck or fence and reuse the wood. My old shelves were our pergola. I'm assuming that's the right way to pronounce that.
Yeah, pergola. Yeah.
So even if you buy it new, like it's relatively cheap as is. So like obviously mine was a very large space and whatnot, but if you buy like brand new wood or not like any sort of used wood, like just industrial type wood, it's not too expensive. Like I think that cost me $100 in total. And this is from like one end of the room to the other. It's like, I think like 16 feet or some shit.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I know you guys probably can't see it very well. I built this entire bar by hand like buying wood. It's actually made out of 2x4s, and I got some 1/8-inch thick hardboard, and I bought trim, like door trim or flooring trim for the
like baseboards and stuff.
Yeah. And it's nice. It's a really nice bar. I'm glad the way it turned out, but it still costed me like $350 to $400 in materials, because right now, like a 4x8 piece of OSB is like $100 or something stupid. I don't know. It's like ridiculous. And so I've these shelves. I think just for these 5 came out to like $100 or so, or like with the hangers too, with the wood and the hangers, $100, which it's pretty cheap, but like it takes up this much space, and I need to put some more in there and put some more there, and it's just like, well, there's another $100 and there's another $100, and so that's $200, and I want to buy a camera, so
it adds up.
Yeah, money is definitely a factor for sure. It's like I just got to get to that point where I can just have a full setup. I'm working on the lighting. I got this ring light from my friend, but the room is so small that I turn it on and like the whole thing is just illuminated.
Once you get a new camera, that issue will subside. So like a quality camera that like you can just like turn the ISO down all the way. Basically, like mine's really low because I have the huge lights that are displaying it, so I can cut it down really low and it's not like blown out or anything.
Right. It's funny because looking at my set, like I always knew it wasn't great, but like I thought, it was pretty okay. But us next to each other right now, it's like, look at how crisp and like good you look, and then look at my set, and I'm just like, I feel like a vampire. I'm Sean from the Bourbon Junkies, ready to suck someone's blood. I'm all whitewashed, and all my walls are white, and I have no accent lighting and stuff.
Well, none of it's cheap. Like this whole, like you said, this whole project. So I just recently purchased this townhouse and whatnot. Which that was already kind of a huge money suck. But on top of that, like paint is dumb expensive. To paint a room, it's at least like $50. I thought it was significantly cheaper. For sure not. Dumb expensive.
And honestly, like we're in a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment, but it's only like, I think it's 1,200 square feet. So I'm in the 2nd bedroom, and the middle of the room from this wall to that wall is like right here. So it's a pretty small space to have my entire bar. I have shelving, I have a coffee table and chair over there. It's like, it's in there. Derek says, you have a friend in the home improvement business that can help you save big money. That's true. Derek is my basically father-in-law, even though we're not married yet.
Soon to be father-in-law.
He works at Menards, so he gets some good discounts and stuff like that. And he can, and he's handy too. He has a lot of tools too. So
yeah, my father-in-law, he owns his own construction company. So when we bought this place, he was like, basically, I was like, help us demo everything, help us fix things.
That's awesome for sure. Yeah, I mean, you got to use the assets here that you have available. But all right, let's go ahead and get into class.
Should we get back to the whiskey, guys? Sorry, we're talking about home improvement stuff. Basically,
we'll get on track here. We're almost at that 1 hour mark. But once we get rolling, honestly, with this stuff, you can bump them up pretty quick. It only takes 30 seconds per glass. It's just the talking.
So we could finish this all in like 10 minutes and then just talk the rest of the time for all I care.
Exactly.
Oh, I smelled that early. I don't even know what I'm asking. I just cheated without meaning to cheat.
It's just your reaction. You grab the glass, you put it up to your nose, and you realize, oh,
it's a habit. When I'm in front of the camera and there's Glenn's, I'm just like, I casually am like, what does that smell like?
Do you know how many times I've smelt my water before drinking?
Yeah, things that don't matter.
It's like, water, notes of water.
That's why I only try. So I was doing that when I first got heavy into it. I started doing that, and now I try to like only smell my whiskey if it's in like my H&R glasses or like a nosing glass. That way I know, like, I'm like, okay, like if it's not that shape, don't look like an idiot and start smelling it.
Yeah, I've done that too many times, but
start smelling a Diet Coke and you're like, oh, that smells like aspartame.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, glass C on the nose. The question for this one is price, plus or minus. Wait.
We didn't do price for C. We did price for D.
Yeah, they're not supposed to double though. I have 8 questions and I have 8 rounds in total between the palette and the. So I'm gonna change that one. We got 2, 4, 3, 1. So that's supposed to be question 6, which is finished. That should
finished,
be finished.
Yes or no? Okay, yes or no? I can do this, guys.
Okay,
this is the one for me.
It's an easier question anyway. Okay. Glass C on the nose. Finished, yes or no, 30 seconds. Ready, set, go.
Did I screw it up?
No, you're good. Mm-hmm. It was just there's a doubled question, but I fixed it.
Oh, I thought I caught all those.
No, that's okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. All right. Maybe that's where you get your weird tasting notes, is the room smell. All right, time is up. So, yes or no, is it finished? What'd you get?
I went no.
No.
Because it's super sweet, but my first one I wrote Buffalo Trace.
Oh, good point.
So good point.
I wrote yes. So either way, one of us is going to get a point there. That's kind of the fun part about having an opponent is seeing each other's guesses. It's like, well.
I was close with that one. I was like, it's sweet. There's a little bit of fruitiness in there, but it's not like overly sweet in one direction or the other. Like it's not super fruity where it's like leading me to like a red wine cask finish stuff, and that's the most common finish.
I probably should have told you this beforehand, but hopefully this. I mean, I don't think this would have changed it if you kind of were guessing based off your Buffalo Trace guess. For finish, I do double oak and like wood stave, like French oak staves.
So like Maker's 46 would be finish?
Yep, and wood for double oak would be finished. So just so you know, I know you had said you had thought Buffalo Trace on that one, so that's part of the reason you didn't guess finish. I'm hoping that you didn't think it was a double oak or anything.
I'm leaning more of like an MGP-esque. So I know you did an MGP, and I'm leaning more of like, after smelling it, I'm leaning more like MGP-ish.
Right.
Maybe.
Awesome. Who knows? Well, we will at the end. All right, we're going to go ahead and move on to glass D, and we're almost done with the nosing, and we'll be able to drink these glorious whiskeys. So the question for glass D on the nose is going to be the mash bill. So this is either going to be... you basically have to say the big 3, and the only thing that you have to clarify is like the starter. So like if it was bourbon, it would be corn, rye, barley, or corn, wheat, barley. But if it's a rye, you would want to say rye first. So when I say mash bill, like technically a rye is still just corn, rye, and barley, depending on the bottle. Barley. But you have to specify that it's rye first, and then a primary grain and then secondary grains is kind of how I would say it. Okay, so we got 30 seconds on the clock. What is the mash bill of glass D? Ready, set, go. And time. Okay.
I went corn and then wheat because it was soft.
Wheat.
I'm going wheated bourbon on that.
So corn, wheat, barley?
Oh, yeah, I would assume so.
All right. And I did the exact same thing. I felt there's a distinct bready quality that I usually smell in wheated bourbons. I think I had that on the nose, but it's anybody's game at this point. So both of us guessed corn, wheat, barley. So we're either both right or both wrong.
Yeah, it was soft. I'm pretty, out of all the answers we've done, I'm pretty confident on that one.
Yeah, I would agree. Although I do have a couple 4 grains. So
at that point I'm like, okay, well, whatever.
Yeah, at that point it's like I'll take the win, even though I don't get a point. I detected wheat, which is kind of what I was saying anyway. So, all right, are you ready to drink some of these whiskeys now?
Yes,
I'm excited. It's the best part of the night. Glass A. The question, and this is on the palate now. The question for glass A is it a bourbon or a rye on the palate? We're going to have 30 seconds. Ready, set, go.
Oh, what the hell? What?
Well, that's different than...
That's incredibly different.
Wow. And time. All right. Bourbon or rye?
What? I don't even know what to say about this one.
That was a tricky one. Different than I thought it was going to be from the nose. I had that proof, though. Proof was definitely there. And body, too. It tasted good. It was weirder than I thought it would be.
I'm very confused right now.
Stacy says my studio sounds like an auditorium. Ceramic tile floor. I need a rug. Yeah, I used to do it. I think my first video ever, I was in a ceramic tile floor as well. And I switched to a carpeted room, and it made a huge difference. Along with putting things on the walls, that helps too.
Yeah, I'm in a tile room, but there's this is such a small room, and there's so much stuff there. And we also have popcorn ceiling in this room because I was too lazy to remove it before we moved in. So it's like they kind of balance each other out.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, or burr rye. Do you have any burr ryes?
No. No, I don't.
Yeah. I'm leaning Finnish rye on that one now.
You think
Finnish rye? But I don't know.
Is that what you want to write down?
I wrote rye, yeah.
Rye? All right.
It was spicy.
And I guessed bourbon. Mainly coming because even though it had a lot of spice, the nose, I'm just going to try to stick true to my nose. Mm-hmm. And I didn't think on the nose that it was
spicy at all.
That it was a rye. So I went with bourbon on that one. I'm just assuming that it's going to be maybe a higher proof bourbon with a bit of spice in it. So I guess we'll see how that one plays out. By the way, you are allowed to smell it during the tasting round. So it's kind of the whole thing now. So while you're tasting it, while you're thinking about it, you can nose it some more and then keep drinking, just so you know. All right, let's move on to Glass B. Glass B's question is going to be the mash bill. So, same thing as kind of 2 rounds ago. Is it corn, barley, or corn, wheat, barley, corn, rye, barley, whatever, rye. And yeah, all right, we got 30 seconds on the clock. Glass B on the palate. Mash bill question, ready, go. Oh. And time.
I think that's finished.
Yeah, that was
There's a weird, like, creamy, fruity note towards the end there.
it definitely had weirdness going on in it. I mean, different than my typical bourbons
atypical.
Would be.
It wasn't bad. I actually liked it, but
yeah, no,
it was atypical.
Yeah, I was. I'm trying to think of mash bills here. What did you? Sorry, I'll get mine down first. I'm going with. We'll do. All right. What did you do for the mash bill?
I did corn rye barley.
Corn.
I'm sticking true to what I originally wrote down, which is bourbon, high rye for the second round of the nosing. And
yeah,
it tasted similar to that, but I don't think it's a high rye bourbon so much anymore as it's like a normal rye percentage. And I think it might be finished.
Okay. I had said rye, corn, barley.
Okay.
Is that even? I almost just said rye. Like I almost said 100% rye. But then I was thinking like rye, corn, barley is a mash bill, right?
Yeah, that would be like a high corn rye.
Right.
Probably.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Honestly, I'm like, part of me feels like that could be 100% rye because I do have I got malted rye up there, which is kind of.
Oh, I forgot about that one.
Yeah.
That's the new riff, right?
Yep.
Oh,
that one,
yeah, because I remember that being a funky one where it's like an earthy spiciness where it wasn't spicy so much as it was more like earthy and a mid bit of sweetness.
Right, exactly. But I could just be I don't know. It was interesting, and so yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I did corn or rye, corn, barley. So we'll see.
I lost this.
Yeah, I guess rye on the nosing round. So I kind of wanted to stick with it. It felt like kind of the right thing to do, but.
I mean, it could be malted rye is weird. It's funky. I have a cask strength malted bourbon and malted rye like blend 50-50. It's incredible. It's like a spicy American single malt.
That's awesome.
It's phenomenally weird, and I don't even understand it, but I enjoy the crap out of it. It's been like my favorite new pour. I've had this last month.
I have the Dragon's Milk Origin up there. It's definitely not in here because that one is funky. But there's so much malt in it. It's wild. It's a wild one.
Malt's easy to tell.
Yeah, for sure. It kind of has a very distinct note, which I actually like a lot. I used to not like it as much, but I've started to appreciate a good malt. Jake is finally home, he says. Thank you, Jake, for arriving home safely and not getting in an accident. Hey, Nazy says, hi, Rye, 18-30%-ish. Yeah, that's kind of what we do. And Four Leaf says, it sounds like an American single pot still. I have Willet pot still on the shelf, too.
No, it's not that. No. It doesn't have it didn't have the body of a pot still. So pot still usually is like very viscous.
Yeah, like slimy almost.
Yeah, where that was, I could tell like the proof of it was like the viscosity, not so much like the
Yeah,
just
not really
overall.
The way it was made. Yeah.
I mean, at least I think.
No, I would have to agree. I don't think it was pot still. I just know I haven't had pot still in a long time, and probably for good reason. Although I don't always think it's as bad as everyone says it is. It's not one that I tend to grab. So.
Well, there's a lot of stuff there's a lot of places that do pot still stuff. It's just more crafty type stuff.
Yeah, it kind of has those
Texas
notes. Yeah, it has those notes that people assume is almost like younger or craftier. It's kind of got like some like almost youthy notes sometimes in pot stills from what I've had. So like I feel like it turns people off, but they're not always. It's not always in a bad way. You know, sometimes they're like almost more floral or grassy or something like that. But
yeah, 4-Leaf Whiskey says Willet pot still is not American single pot still.
So pot still bourbon.
What would constitute as an American? So I don't actually know this question. American single pot still. Like what's single pot still mean?
Would that be like a single malt pot still or
American single pot still is malty but spicy. So I have one that it's made. So I have a craft whiskey that's made. It's 100% pure unmalted barley. That's a single pot still. So would that be like that? Like it's like I'm assuming. Right. So that was a cask strength version of like kind of a southwestern Irish whiskey. Is that what you're kind of getting at? Little kind of
says Talnua is the biggest one.
Yeah, because I know single pot still is like it's a huge Irish thing, but I don't know anyone who does that hugely.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I definitely haven't had the luxury of those experiences for at least some American single pot stills. So honestly,
you gotta get crafty with that stuff. Okay, yeah. So crafty's fun. That's the next phase you need to get on. Get past this whole like hunting allocated bourbons. Yeah,
I know.
Get weird, get crafty.
I want to get some scotches. I really want that one behind your head, the classic Lottie. I think that one's going to be fantastic from what I hear. And I just want to do some scotches. I want to do some more Irish. I want to
send you any scotch.
Well, no.
I wish I had known. I would have totally sent you, especially the classic Lottie. That one, I'm like, okay, it's okay. I don't love it. It's not a bad scotch at all. It's just when I'm going scotch, I'm either going something that's super finished or I want some peat.
Yeah, right.
And that's neither. It's like a weird in between.
Yeah, I've heard it's unique, is what I've heard about it.
It's easy.
Yeah, Anthony from Bourbon Neophyte actually sent me a flight of scotches, and he was supposed to be on my channel the like 2 weeks before I went on his, but then his work shifted him or switched his shift over to like a different time frame to when our live stream would be. So he was unable to do it. So I still have his samples of scotch here that I'm waiting to reschedule with him to do a live stream with him. But that's probably going to be the most scotch that I've ever side by side together. So, All right. Moving on to Glass C on the palette. Glass C is going to be, what is the proof? So it'll be interesting. Proof on the palette versus proof on the nose. Starting in 3, 2, 1. Wow.
Yeah, this is weird.
And time. Okay. Man, and you know, I couldn't tell if that was proof or spice that I was getting in that. Like, the finish has The finish is just...
The finish gets spicy. It gets chocolatey and spicy.
Right. It just leaves me with questions more than answers. But I'm going to go with... I'll go around...
Hey, Jack, if you want some Starward whiskey, check one of my old live streams. So I did a Starward whiskey live stream. I might still have a running promo code to get you free shipping because they sent me a bottle and they set up a promo code for y'all to use to get free shipping. So if you want to do that, check back there and use that for free shipping. If it's still running, I don't know. I haven't talked to them since I did the live stream. And I don't know if they liked what I had to say with the bottle they sent me. But the bottle I bought with my own money was incredible. So take it as you will.
Yeah, it's always nice that you're honest, too, about if people send you stuff, of what you actually think about it, rather than just, saying it's great because they sent it to you, not because it's actually great. Unbiased. Yeah. It's a good quality to have.
It hasn't happened very often where I've been sent some stuff.
Right.
But that was one of those ones where I didn't even know I could buy it. I didn't really look up. So I was like, hey, can you guys send me some stuff? Because I want to try Australian whiskey. And they were like, yeah, sure. Oh, yeah. And I did not like what they sent me. But I bought some with the promo code that they set me up with. And it was amazing.
Awesome.
Amazing.
Glad to hear it. Forley says, American pot still is a category still in the early creation stage. But there's a council of distillers trying to establish some standards. Interesting. Well, I'm sure it'll pop up and end up being a whole thing. But, yeah. Okay, we're going to go ahead and move right into glass D on the nose. Or, sorry, actually.
We need to do D.
Proof. I'm sorry. What did you think for proof on that one?
I went 110. Which is another kind of scapegoaty-ish.
Yeah, I went with 113. 5 points down would keep me at the 110-ish proof, but then it also bumps me up toward the 115 to 17 range because a lot of lower cask strengths are around that 117 range, I think. So
yeah, it didn't seem that hot. It seemed spicy.
Right. That was my reaction too. The front of the palate almost didn't seem proofy at all. I was when I first put it in my mouth, I'm like, this might be closer to 90. It's definitely under 100. And then on the finish, it's I still almost feel it. But a lot of that came from spice. So it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell the difference. Independent Joe's in chat. Cheers, Independent Joe. Thanks for stopping in. Yeah, but I said 113, you said 110. Now we're moving on to glass D on the palate. First question of the tasting round. Palate cleanse if you need to.
My water's too far away.
And then drip all the water all over the counter because you just...
It'd be like that sometimes.
It do. But, all right. Glass D on the palate is going to be, what is the age of this whiskey? And you get plus or minus 1 year. So 30 seconds is on the clock. Ready, set, go. That's so good.
Yeah. I think this might be my favorite.
Yeah, this is viscous as hell. I mean, this is rich.
That's actually really good. I like that one.
Yeah, it is. Okay. What's your guess?
I did 8.
8 years? And I did 9 years.
Ooh.
Yeah. It felt full-bodied, but I almost didn't want to say I had super classic old age stated notes on it. But it definitely didn't seem young.
it got a little like chocolatey for me, and it usually like bourbon starts getting towards chocolate as it gets older, like chocolate, leather, more of like a peanut buttery instead of like a weird astringent nuttiness. It becomes peanut buttery. So I could be wrong, could not be. Who knows?
Yeah,
I mean, we guess very similar, so I think we're kind of on the same.
Right. I definitely have some thoughts about it going into. I can't wait to the taste or the bottle guessing round. You get 3 minutes, and I'll be able to like really dive into that one at that point, because now having the palette in there, I mean, I have some guesses for it. I just don't know which ones I want to pick yet. So that being said, we're moving our way back to Glass A. This is going to be the final tasting round before we bottle guess these bad boys.
Hanging AZ, a combo of peanut butter and a herbaceous Vegemite.
Herbaceous Vegemite. The word coined by the Tipsy Whiskey Shenanigans crew. Forley says, well done, AZ. Joe's link didn't like my intro.
Yeah, if y'all wouldn't mind, I know it's been dropped in chat. Please like, comment, and subscribe to this video you are currently watching, because you're watching it. That's the price of admission. So do it. Just send it.
Click all those buttons. And everyone in the chat, Tipsy Whiskey Shenanigans, I know it's been linked in here a few times. Go subscribe to him, guys. He's phenomenal. Him and Alex on there too. They do awesome work. Great reviews, along with everyone else in the chat here. Independent Joe and 4-Leaf Whiskey, all those guys making great content. But yeah, check everyone out and subscribe to everybody. Not just me, but definitely me. But not just me. Yeah, for sure. Support everyone who supports you, and that's the way that's what makes the world go round. So
heck yeah. Yeah, everyone out there is doing great stuff. Especially Stacy. She's just starting out, but she's doing she's a niche, at least as far as I'm aware, she's a niche in the Irish whiskey, because I'm aware of a bunch of Scotch channels. I'm aware of a bunch of, there's so many bourbon channels.
Oh yeah.
And like all the bourbon channels, eventually the longer they do the content, they start getting into rye and whatnot.
Yeah.
But like, as far as I'm tracking, like there's not really a channel where it's like, we do Irish whiskey stuff. Stacy's like the only one I'm aware of that only does Irish stuff.
For sure, yeah. And it's like,
at least that I'm aware of.
And I knew her, I mean, well, I don't know how much I necessarily made one-on-one conversation with her in other live streams, but I definitely knew Stacy H before I knew 4-Leaf Whiskey. So it's like, it's nice seeing her start out, and then being able to like put out, she has a lot of great content on a lot of great stuff. And while I don't drink a lot of Irish, it definitely makes me, it definitely is a good guide to whether, or what things that I could be buying once I want to start getting into the Irish category. So great stuff over from her. That being said, we're moving on to Glass A. It's the last round of tasting. The question for the palate of the Glass A last round is price plus or minus $5. What do you think the price is for Glass A? 30 seconds is on the clock. 3, 2, 1, go. And time. Okay, that one was definitely interesting.
I'm the most curious about.
Me too. I think, like, I got a very aggressive, like, red fruity note. And the palate of, like, sweetness.
And fruity.
Yeah, and it pushed, like, I want to say that it could be finished in something. But then again, that's my philosophy with a lot of these whiskeys tonight. So I don't know if my palate's broken, but it just like, that particular time tasting it, definitely tasted like it had a lot of fruit. Like you said, a lot of spice as well. But what'd you guess for price here?
So, real question: do you have a boatload of finished whiskeys? Because I only have like out of the whole 150, or I guess I'll just keep it to bourbon. So like 70. I only have like maybe 10% that are finished.
Right.
Because like you said, a majority, I think like at least 2 or 3 of these are finished. At least that's where I'm kind of starting to go after the palate. I'm like, they're all higher proof. They're sweet, very fruity. Finish.
Yeah, I don't have, the thing is, I don't really have all that. I mean, I'll probably say the same. 10%.
Yeah.
Maybe 20%. I don't know. I only have 50 bottles, and I know I have at least 7 or 8 of them that are finished. Okay. But that finish is also including double oaks and French oak finishes. Yeah. So FAE, Woodford double oaked. I have Elijah Craig toasted barrel. That Yellowstone limited release this year that's finished in Marsala Superiore casks. So I have some finished whiskeys. It's just that not a lot or not as much as I have unfinished, which is why I'm getting so like these are definitely not typical whiskeys that I'm drinking super often. So which is usually
would
a good
your
sign.
Fiance mess with you? Like, so I know she's the one who poured these. Would she go out of her way to be like, I'm going to get in his mind just to mess with him so he looks like an idiot on the internet? Because that's what my wife did for the Advent last year. And every time I have her like randomly pour things, that's exactly what she does moving forward now. So like I kind of have to put myself in her shoes and the mindset she was in the like minute I asked her to pour those. Because if she's already intoxicated or whatnot for the night, it's all just going to be chaos. She's like, I'm going to pick that bottle, then that bottle, and that bottle. I'm going to pour them to do the thing. Or it's going to be like, she's going to sit there strategically and being like, what bottle does he talk a lot about? What bottle does he say he loves on the internet a lot and rant to me about when we're hanging out? And then, I'm going to put this in there along with a bunch of other things and hope he hates on this one.
Right.
Because that's what she'll do. They'll do that.
Lauren is the same way for sure. The only thing is, since she sent them to you, I did I'm not sure. I didn't want her to, send you like $10 swill for, for our blind. So I did tell her to kind of stick to higher grade bourbons. But like I said earlier in the night, most of the stuff I buy is stuff that I actually thoroughly enjoy. So that doesn't say much, but she definitely is a type on a normal night that she would literally put in the cognac for me on a normal night without asking, just to see if it trips me up. Fortunately, I usually can smell the difference between cognac and bourbon, but I think we should be pretty straight-laced, at least for this one, since she sent them to you. Is probably my saving grace. Okay. But I wouldn't be surprised if she snuck some in here that should be good and are bad, or like I said the other day when she snuck in the Blantons, she knows how I feel about it, so she snuck it in there just to.
Yeah, she wants you to say you love that on the internet, so it's like it's forever.
Just instant potato. Yeah, for sure. What'd you end up coming with price for glass?
I did 80.
80. Okay, I did 50. Like I said, I thought it was interesting. I thought that it seemed a little thinner than I think Glass D is probably going to be the most expensive one out of these 4. It definitely, on the palate, seemed the richest, the fullest, the most viscous. And going from Glass D to Glass A made A seem a little bit thin. So, and I didn't really have enough time to really sit and think about how complex it is, but I'm guessing around the $50 mark because I think that could be a good range for that bottle. I think that would be what I would pay maybe for that bottle. But I guess we'll find out what it is in the end. Moving on.
Only time will tell.
Lauren says, mess with him every time. Maybe there's Malort and they both are secretly fans.
If one of these is Malort, I love Malort.
If one of these is Malort.
But it's not.
Yeah. No, I can't drink Malort without like wanting to hurl afterward. Like, I don't know if you like how often you drank it.
I've never had it.
Really?
Yeah, I've never seen it here, so I've never picked it up. When I see it, I'll pick it up, but I'm not like I'm not trying to pick it up.
Oh man, I missed a golden opportunity to send you some of the best stuff you'll ever taste. You know,
I know it's heinous.
It's like, so it's wormwood flavor or wormwood distilled, whatever. So like smell is like kind of rotten, but like you can tell that there's like some woodiness in it. And when you first taste it, being a liqueur, it's like it's sweet. Like it hits your tongue and you think, this is kind of sweet. It's not that bad. Then you swallow it and the wave of emotions that come to you and your eyes start watering and like you want to jump off a bridge. Like you literally just like the most heinous like feeling ever. It's all in the aftertaste. And Lauren always makes fun of me because like I always say in the beginning, like, it's not that bad. And she's like, oh, you must love it. And I'm like, no, it's just the aftertaste is what really punches me in the gut. But
it's the finish. The finish and the aftertaste.
And it lingers too. It'll be in your mouth for probably 5 minutes, if not 10. And nothing you drink afterward will be the same. Trust me. Yeah, I should have sent it. But that being said,
I can't say I'm disappointed.
All right. We're moving on to Glass B. On the tasting round, the question for Glass B is the state of distillation. So where do you think this bad boy is distilled? You got 30 seconds on the timer. All right, 30 seconds on the timer. State of distillation, Glass B on the palate. Ready, set, go. And time. Whoops. That's so loud.
I know, right?
Okay, and every time I hear it, it's like PTSD to when I have to wake up in the morning. I'm like, trying not to die.
You got to change your alarm. Change it to a song that you like, but you don't love, because once it's your alarm, you'll never want to listen to it ever again outside of it being your alarm, but at least it's not that.
My brother used to wake up to the Randy Orton walkout song for WWE. It's like the I hear voices in my head like song. And so every morning, like he always woke up before me. But it would like wake me up. I'd wake up and I'd open my eyes. I would just hear like Randy Orton's like outro song coming on, and I'm just expecting him to walk through my door like RKO to nowhere, and it was a mess. But that definitely ruined that song for me for sure.
Some PTSD.
Yeah, exactly. Although this one helps me because sometimes I'll sleep through my alarm. I actually set 8 alarms in the morning. That way I don't sleep through them. But I almost need to be scared out of my pants like by my alarm, otherwise I just won't get out of bed. Like if I have a mini heart attack, at least it wakes me up. Okay,
I'm an one alarm kind of guy, so when it's time to wake up, I'm like there. Unfortunately, but I'm there.
That's nice. If the window's open or like if the sun comes up, I'm awake and I'm not tired anymore. But I wake up at 5 in the morning ish. So it's usually still night out, and like on the weekends I'll wake up at 6 in summer because the sun comes up and I wake up with the sun. But at 5 o'clock in the morning, I just like 5 more minutes, mom. Just let me sleep. I just want to not go to work. What'd you get on that one? State of distillation.
I did Kentucky.
Kentucky, and I did Indiana.
I had no like weird outliers. There was a little bit of spice, which made me think not MGP, and then I was like, well, it's likely Kentucky then.
Well, I've been on the rye train for Glass B, and while this last tasting portion changed my mind a little bit, like I feel almost toward the bourbon train now for Glass B. I still said Indiana because I think some of those notes that make me think it's rye could be just MGP type notes. I think MGP is closer to rye than Kentucky is, in my opinion, for my palate anyway. So I said Indiana, you said Kentucky, and now we are moving on to Glass C on the tasting round.
Yeah, you're on the train of that being like a MGP rye, where I'm on the train of that's for sure a Kentucky bourbon. That's a high rye bourbon.
Yeah.
All the way.
It's just, I don't know what it is. And the best part is hearing the answers at the end. And then you're just like,
we're both going to be wrong.
Yeah. And you're just like, oh, I understand. It makes so much more sense now. But yeah, definitely. Glass C. The question for Glass C on the palate is it finished? Yes or no? All right. Yeah, I think, wait. I don't know. I'm confused. Okay, I'm sorry. We're doing, is it finished? Yes or no?
Is it finished? Yes or no?
Okay. I have something messed up on the nosing round of that one, but I'll figure that out at the end when we're going over the answers.
That was the nosing round where the second round we didn't have a question, so then we just did is it finished, yay or nay.
Oh, that was this one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then that's why. Because basically I have all these questions associated with numbers, and Lauren wrote numbers in all of these, and on the nosing round it said question 7. But our answers are yes and no, and I'm just like, that doesn't make any sense with price. Yes or no? Yes, it costs money.
Yes, it in fact has something to do with some sort of monetary value or something. I don't know.
Exactly. All right. So, is it finished? Yes or no? On the palate. 30 seconds on the clock. Ready, set, go. And time.
Huh.
All right, what'd you say?
I went yes. It reminded me of like a cognac finished.
Yeah. Honestly, I wrote no. I do think it's finished, but that's kind of the thing about playing this game is on the nose, I wrote that I thought it was finished, and I could either get 2 points, it's a bird in the hand worth 2 in the bush. I could either say yes on both of those questions. I could either get 2 points or 0 points, or I can write yes and no, and I know I'd at least get 1 point, but I'm leaning toward it being finished, but I did say no on that one, so...
I did the opposite. So where you doubled down, I wrote, no, it's not finished. But there's something about it that just like instantly clicked with like, that tastes exactly like a cognac finished whiskey does.
Right. So you wrote no on that one?
So I wrote no on the nosing round, but this round I wrote yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so we're opposite on the nosing and tasting. But... I'm still thinking
you didn't double down. You did the exact same thing I did. So in the end, it just all of our points are going to zero out no matter what.
The competitive nature of two guys competing over whiskey tasting. All right.
Me and Alec are.
Yeah, no, that's what makes it fun a lot of times. Lauren's not she's awesome to live stream with. She doesn't drink as much as me, and so I can't just
she
pour
keeps
all
it
these
together
whiskeys for her and compete with her. So it's like it's always nice having some friendly competition in here. And she's not overly competitive either. So, and that's not a bad thing.
Yeah, if I had my wife on this, she'd be like, I don't give a shit about any of this. And be like, okay, cool, just play along. Okay, babe?
Yep, exactly. All right, last glass D on the palette. This is the last question before we go into the bottle guessing round. The question for glass D is distillery/company. So 30 seconds is on the clock. Which distillery/company do you think this is from? 30 seconds, 3, 2, 1, go. And time. Okay. I think I know which one this is. What did you say for distillery/company?
I'm going completely against what I've thought it is this whole round, but I'm going MGP.
MGP. Okay. I said Woodford. Part of me is thinking that this could be Woodford batch proof. Maybe.
Because they're low proof.
Yeah. They have some of those dark notes, but I know that it's full bodied and it has some of that like burnt brown sugar. And the only thing that I know that bottle had that I didn't really have time to check for is a little bit of like boozy syrup, like boozy maple syrup on the nose. But I guess that's something that I can look for in the as I'm giving you hints before the bottle round. But it's all fair in love and war, right? I figured I might as well give you a little bit of information since I have all this stuff behind me and you can't see it all. But
this bottle guess round, I'm getting 0% of these right. I'll be blown away if I get one right.
Yeah, I mean, okay, well, I'll just kind of recap. I have these stuff you see. I have a lot of Elijah Craig's. I have a few Buffalo Traces. Up there I have, you can see those. I've talked about, my FAE, my Yellowstone. I have the New Riff Malted Rye, Remus 5, Redwood Empire, Grizzly Beast. I have the Brothers Bond, both of them. I have some High West, some Wild Turkeys, and, Knob Creek 12, that kind of stuff. Just typical.
It's for sure not Knob Creek 12. None of these are Knob Creek 12. I know the shit out of that bottle. Yeah,
I have Old Forester 100, Bowman Brothers. I have a lot of bottles, but I just name off a few just to try to give you a little bit of an advantage here.
I can wing it. I'm not worried.
Yeah, at least catching up to the amount of information I have. Hanging AZ says Lauren makes the best whiskey faces. Yeah, she definitely. She'll tell you whether she likes it or not. That's for sure. She's not going to hide that. Nuttier than a squirrel poop, JB. I don't know about that. Lauren says Holden's usually off too, so don't feel bad. Hanging AZ. To be fair,
we all are.
Yeah, to be fair, we all are. It's a lot harder than people think, but sometimes you get those ones that you're just like, I know what this is, and I know on Glass D we had talked about it being a wheated bourbon, and my Woodford guess totally annihilates that possibility. But that being said, we're about to move on to the final 3-minute bottle guess round. So you have 3 minutes. You can go through, smell them, and taste them how you like. Try to guess your bottles, write them down. And while you're doing this, feel free to, start putting them in order. You don't have to put them in order, but like if you know you would like one of the best, you can put it in the front and then put the other one in the back and whatever. But yeah, we'll have 3 minutes here to go through these, really dive into them and try to pick out what you think they are. And then at the end of this, we'll reveal the answers and determine who wins this game. And I am excited. So what we'll do after we do the bottle guess is, do you still have the piece of paper with the answers with you?
Oh, it got taped to my table, but yeah, it's right here.
Okay. Just to make sure that you and I have the same order in these. But once we get down with the bottle guessing round, I will go get my answer sheet, and you can pull yours out and look at it, and then I will go over our answers, what we said, and what the bottles are, and I'll pull them down. But 3 minutes is on the clock. Bottle guessing round. Drink them, smell them, do whatever you want with them. 3 minutes in 3, 2, 1, go. Oh my goodness. I usually have so many more guesses by now.
Not a clue.
I know. This is a hard one for sure.
When your bottle guess has nothing to do with any of your previous answered ones.
Yeah, I know. I'm
just trying to rip these off the cuff of like just what I have. Like I'm just thinking of just like whiskeys I've tried. What could it be?
Right, exactly. It's like when you said rye mash bill, and finished, and then you guess like Buffalo Trace.
Dude, whatever. Fuck it. I don't even. Yeah, I doubt you even have this bottle, but I'm going all in on it.
Full send.
And if you don't have that bottle, you need to get it.
I have a lot of bottles that I would love to get.
Mm-hmm.
One bottle I don't have is the Redwood Empire Pipe Dream, or no, Lost Monarch. I've been meaning to buy that bottle, but
it's hard with some of these because there's just something that's like not remarkable about this, like nothing standout-ish.
Right.
Like A and C, I'm completely lost. B, I have an idea.
45 seconds left on the clock. Five seconds. Holy shit. All right, time is up. Write your last answer if you need to.
Yeah, I'm just going to put not a clue. Because A, not a clue. A and C, I have no idea. D, I'm kind of going based off of my previous answers. And then B, I know for sure is wrong, but it reminds me so much of it.
Yeah, I think this is possibly the hardest time that I've ever had bottle guessing. Up until this point, I've at least had some pretty good ideas of what these are. And tonight, like for A and C, I wrote random bottles just because I'd rather have an answer than nothing at all.
A and C are just not remarkable. B, there's remarkable stuff about it, and D just feels so well put together compared to everything else.
Yeah. Did you check out the answers yet?
Okay, are we doing that?
Wait, hold on. I'll you give me your answers first.
Okay, so A is the Bernati chair. Not even a clue what that is. B
okay, hold
is
on.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. So you give me your answers for what you bottle guessed on these 4, and then we'll go through and we'll determine what these are. We give all the answers. I did look at them too, and I'm just like,
my C is so off.
Your C is? And honestly, I love that bottle, and I just I can't believe I've only had it a few times, but oh my god, my bottle guess is horrible. Okay, so on glass A, you guessed. What did you guess?
Not a clue.
So no guess on glass A.
Yeah, I had no guess. The clock ran out. I was like, well,
yeah.
And from the answer, that kind of tracks because I don't even know what that is.
Right.
All the rest I know, so kind of I'm like, okay.
Okay. So glass B, what'd you guess?
B, I guess Sagamore Double Oak Rye.
Oh yeah, I almost bought that. I saw it in stores, and the only reason I didn't buy it is because I had just spent
too much money on other whiskey you shouldn't have.
And then on glass C, what did you guess?
Our guest Wild Turkey 101. Like I said, when I got to that one, going from B to C, I was like, C is just not remarkable at all. There's nothing exciting about that.
I liked the palate of C. The nose threw me off, and the lack of proof, I think, threw me off a lot. And then glass D, what did you guess?
Glass D, I guess Maker's FAEO2, and that's mostly based off of the whole, I guess $60. I guess 8 years. I guessed it was a wheated mash bill.
Yeah.
And then on D, I guess on the final one, I guess MGP. But I was like, well, whatever. I'm just gonna throw something at them.
Yeah, I definitely. This was an interesting one to say the least. Okay, I have the answers here, and I will go through.
I got 0 points.
You know, well, I think we got some points.
Looking at the answers,
I mean, at least between prices and stuff like that. Okay, so we're gonna start. Oh, hold on. Did you put them? Whoa, whole table moved. Did you put any of them in order for your favorites yet?
D. So D, B, and then here. Let me.
Mine goes D, B, D, B, C, A, I think.
I go AC because A has a little bit more of a fruity characteristic to the flavor profile, where C is kind of just bleh. C was the biggest letdown of this entire palette or entire tasting. D and B have real character. A, when I dig deep into it, it's kind of fruity. And I mean, now I know the answer. So I kind of understand why it's a little fruity. So that might be me just being hey, it should be a little fruity. But
I totally agree.
See, this is a bottle so is here. Wait a sec.
I'll go through them. So I actually, after doing an A/B comparison with A and C, I actually put A before C. So my number 1 is glass D. My number 2 is glass B. My number 3 is glass A, and my number 4 is glass C. Did I say that right? It's D, B, A, C for me. That being said, I believe it is time that I go over these answers.
I'll be damned. That's C. That's just comparatively. So when you do blinds, something I have to say before this, because it's going to make me look to be an asshole or something. when you do blinds, sometimes so blinds just highlight the differences between each bottle. So sometimes things can get lost in the abyss. Sure. And C is a bottle I truly enjoy, but comparatively, it was bleh. Like, it just didn't have the character compared to all the rest.
That's something I've continually said. When I bought Glass C, I loved it. At least I thought the palette and finish was fantastic. The nose, I think, could have had more, but I genuinely like that bottle a lot. But yeah, comparing to these other these other glasses, it's like it just isn't hitting where it needs to be. But that being said,
that's so disappointing.
You have the same order as me, right? DBAC.
DBA. Yep.
Okay.
D's incredible compared to everything else. D is a high, like, it is significantly higher above anything else. B, I think is it's for sure higher, like, without question to the other ones, but it's not in the same manner that D is just
right.
Like,
exactly.
D's
D was
here, B's here, and then C A and C are like kind of like close.
Exactly. I'm the same way. All right. Now we'll fill in the rest of our audience here. So Glass A, we'll go over the answers, and then we'll go over our answers, and then I'll read off the bottle. So Glass A, I guessed Bowman Brothers, and this was a lack of options. I had A blank when the timer went off, and I scribbled in Bowman Brothers because I needed to put a bottle in there. Otherwise, it would have felt like a loss of point. And Steven said no guess. And Glass A ended up being the Burning Chair. This is a wine cellar pick. So the Burning Chair is a bottle that gives you guys a better
Do they source MGP, or is it their own distillate?
They do source MGP, and so basically these guys...
that's a point for me.
Yeah, Savage and Cook. And they source MGP, and they finish it in a lot of wine casks, and they do some blending. I actually have a review for this bottle coming out on Saturday. And it's funny because I didn't think that I owned this bottle when Lauren poured your samples. That's like one of the only reasons I blocked this bottle out of my mind from the possibilities, because when she sent you these, I didn't think I owned this. And I had just reviewed this yesterday. Like, I put out my review for this, or I recorded my review.
You recorded it
yesterday, and I couldn't even, like, that's wild. Okay.
Real question before we get into all the other answers. What's your thought of that bottle just by itself? Not like, don't burn content and give out your 100% review, but like, yay or nay, because I've bought some, not Burning Chair, but I bought some Savage and Cook products previously, since they're wine country, California. We're in Arizona. We're close by. Distribution's close.
Yeah, exactly.
I've never liked a single one of them. For the price, at least, I've been at best. So
here's the thing. I have been in the same boat. I hadn't actually even really tried many of them. Their core label is an all black bottle, at least for the Burning Chair bourbon. It's an all black bottle. And I'm not exactly sure the price, but I've never bought it. But my basically father-in-law has it, and I tried it, and it's decent. I mean, it's good whiskey, but I didn't pay for it. It was free. So it was good whiskey in terms
where it was hard to judge whiskey you don't pay for.
Exactly. This, however, was only $65. But it comes in at 57% alcohol, so 114 proof. I think that it's 100% worth it. I mean, it's really good for that, like, $65. This is a special blend. The Wine Cellar in De Pere blended this. It's 60% finished in Grenache, 25% finished in Zinfandel, and 15% finished in Cabernet Sauvignon. So it's the wine cellar and Appear's own blend, but yeah, I'd say it's worth it for the proof points that you get and the complexity. Like if you actually had a chance to really sit down and think about this, like you can get a lot of those wine finishes through on it. And I think that it's definitely worth it. But
without heavily sitting into that, like I'm like, I would pay $65 for that.
Yeah, right. 65 is not a bad price for.
I wouldn't buy 2 or 3 of them, but I'd for sure buy one to at least have like, because that's a really well done, high proof finished whiskey.
Agreed.
And the cask shines through. There's so much dark, bright red fruits. Like it's just, I mean, I guess that's kind of like those are fighting each other, dark and bright red fruits, but like it's like darker, kind of more like blue fruits, like, and then more like brighter,
fruitier, and then the Zinfandel and Cab have some of those like full-bodied, punchier, dark notes. It kind of like evens out. And I went over that in the review coming out on Saturday.
Oh yeah, sorry, I don't want to burn your content.
No, it's okay. He explained the reason he picked out the percentages that he did because he knows the people who make this stuff. And so him and the guy from Burning Share, they blended it together. So they were sitting there with vials and whatever, and then blended it together to make this, which I think is well put together. So on the nose, first round, I said it's from Kentucky. Steven said it's from Indiana. It is MGP. So Steven is correct. He gets 1 point.
The only point I got, guys. Hey, Bruno. Do you just want everyone? Bruno, up. Oh, hey there, buddy.
The second question on the nose, Bruno, what a big boy. Wow, he is the size of you, isn't he?
Yeah, he's huge. Okay, buddy, you got to hop off now.
So
we got to make
the next question on the nose for this bottle was age statement. Steven guessed 10 years, and I guessed 5 years.
Oh, it's for sure not 10 years.
Yeah, this is not age stated, but I think it would be closer to 5, but I'm going to look it up here.
It would for sure be closer to 5 because there's no way it's 10.
Yeah, maybe if you could do me a favor, Steven, and look up the mainstay, the average. It's called the Burning Chair, or is your phone available on you or your computer? Just look up the Burning Chair age statement. See if you can find any kind of age statement on it, and I'll keep going over these answers. For the palate, I said it was a bourbon. Steven said it was a rye. It was a bourbon, so I get a point for that one. And then on the price, I said it was $50. Steven said it was $80, and it was $65. So neither of us get a point there.
Yeah, so it's looking more around 3 to 4 years from what I'm seeing. 3 to 4
years. Okay. Well, years is plus or minus 1.
Tracks.
Yeah,
that tracks for what that is. The finish for sure threw me off on age.
Yeah, for sure. It seemed more complex than it probably is.
Yeah, than it actually is because of the extra red fruits and stuff.
And with the Zinfandel and the Cab having like a lot of like dark aged notes on them, it kind of brings more age stated flavors to the glass. So
yeah,
I won't give myself a point for that one. I said 5 years. It's within a year for 4, but it could be 3 or 4, unless it says straight bourbon whiskey, which it doesn't. So, or unless it's sorry, I said unless it was.
Doesn't it have a little tag on it that tells you the age? Because aren't those all like single barrels?
They are. It doesn't tell me the age. It just tells me the blend that they did. And that it was produced and bottled by Savage and Cook in California.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't actually have a whole lot of the information on it. I can tell you it's barrel number 281.
We won't be able to probably confirm an accurate age statement without spending the next hour or so just being like
exactly. If I would have guessed 4 years, I would have just taken the point because that would probably be spot on. But 5 years is just too far off, so we'll cancel it out. So overall, the first round, I got 1 point, Steven got 1 point, and now we are moving into Glass B.
Folks.
Tied, exactly. So on Glass B, I guessed that it was malted rye, New Riff malted rye, And Stephen guessed that it was Sagamore Double Oaked, and the correct answer was New Riff Malted Rye. So right away, that is a point for me. And this is definitely part of home field advantage, I will say, knowing that I own this bottle. But that's
an incredible bottle. I really like that one.
Yeah, I honestly love this. I've seen it multiple times ever since I got the first one. I've seen it multiple times after that, and I've refrained from buying, like, stocking up on bottles of it, even though I know it's fantastic. This is one of, if not the favorite rye that I own, but just because, like, it has so much like just interesting notes on it. So I got +1 for malted rye. Steven did not get a point. For proof, on the nose, I guessed 104 proof. Steven guessed 110 proof. And all New Riff is bottled and bond, so that is 100 proof. So I got a point for 104, and Steven did not get a point. So then I guessed that it was a rye, and Steven guessed that it was a bourbon, and it is a rye. So I did get a point for that one. And Steven did not. Now, the sucky part is the next question was the mash bill for this. Now, I said that it was rye corn barley, and Steven guessed that it was corn rye barley. Neither of us are correct, because while this is a rye whiskey, it is 100% rye. I think it's 95% malted rye and 5%
rye.
Rye, I believe. No, I lied. It's 100%. Sorry, I didn't even see that it said it right on the back. It's 100% malted rye. So I almost, I told you I was this close to just writing rye on it, because I knew that I had a couple New Riffs and some High West double ryes, but I ended up writing rye corn barley, so that is incorrect. And then last but not least, I said it was Indiana, and Steve said it was Kentucky. Indiana does get a point. These are MGP whiskeys, I believe.
Does it say distilled in Indiana?
It doesn't even sit. Oh, wait, hold on. It's on the side here. Distilled, aged, and bottled by New Riff Distilling. So wait, distilled by New Riff
Distillery is in...
Not Indiana. It's in Kentucky, right?
What's the specific bottle? It's New Riff.
New Riff malted rye. Spring of 2022.
Okay, so let me see. Why is that popping up? Let me see here. It might be their own distillate, because I know that was like kind of a limited run for them. Yeah. So
it's 6 years old. I know that New Riff sources MGP for a lot of other stuff, I think. But it says distilled. Oh, but it says distilled by New Riff Distilling.
So if it says distilled by, here, let me.
It says check. Distilled, aged, and bottled by New Riff Distilling.
Distilled and bottled. Yeah, so I think distilled would mean they would have distilled it. Where's New Riff from?
Newport, Kentucky. So you got that. You actually got the point for that one.
Ooh, I got a point, guys.
All right, so you're up to 2 points. And I don't get a point for that one, so I am only at 4 points.
Okay. You killed that one with guessing the bottle, and that for sure is home field advantage. I'm not trying to make excuses, folks, but
it definitely is.
When I tasted that compared to all the rest, like actually being able to like go back and forth, I was like, there's something that's like spicy, but also like super sweet, kind of. I guess now it makes sense to make it malty. But it reminded me so much of Sagamore Double Oaked. I guess now, and like now that we've already talked about it and whatnot, Sagamore Double Oaked is likely significantly sweeter.
Right.
But that is a fantastic bottle. I really like that.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to get Sagamore Double Oaked eventually. Because I love a sweet whiskey. I love this one though. I just had another sip of it and it's phenomenal. Awesome. So, okay, time for one of the biggest upsets in like the history of me ever playing this game, and I know this is Steve's first time, but even
I mentioned this bottle on this freaking live stream midway through.
At the end, I was
we were both like, "There's no way that's it. It's not going to be here, so it doesn't matter."
Yeah, literally. Okay, so Glass C, I guessed, and this was just another throw-out guess. I really wanted to like put an answer in there. I guess Sazerac Rye. I mean, that's how bad I was off.
You were even more off than I was.
Yeah, no, I mean, to be fair, all I knew about it was that it was like weirdly sweet, and I haven't drank Sazerac and probably, I mean, I bought this bottle. I want to say almost 3/4 of a year, like 9 months ago. That's how far into it I am.
Sazerac Rye is the most like disappointing or like unmemorable whiskey I've probably ever had. Like it's a huge
Yeah, that's how low the bottle is, and I've used it in 2 Sazerac cocktails. So
mine's a little bit deeper in because Olivia likes it, but outside of that, like I've made cocktails with it for her, and that's it.
Right, exactly. So yeah, I guess Sazerac, and Steve guessed Wild Turkey 101. And the correct answer was Knob Creek 12-year. I mean, literally, I
got no words. I'm out.
So baffling for me. Like I can understand now. I think part of the problem was Glass D and A are both higher proof whiskeys, and even Glass B, like even though it's only bottled in bond, it drinks like it's got body and proof.
Yeah, because it's a rye, so it has that spice.
Yeah, and being malted too, like it has like, I feel like the mouthfeel of it is almost like that maltiness kind of like comes across as like, I don't know, nicer on the palate. And this one just didn't seem to live up to that expectation. But that being said, no points on the bottle guess for neither Steve or I. On the distillery, I guessed MGP. Steve guessed Buffalo Trace. Neither of us are right. That's just sad times in that one.
It was just so simple compared to it. And that makes sense because I like Knob Creek 12 for the fact that it brings in those like darker aged like flavors, those like chocolate, that like peanut butter, a little bit of leatheriness, but not being at cash strength or anything like that. And I love the fact that it's readily available because it's hard to find something that's like 12 years old, readily available, that's not over $100. And this stuff is like $60. So
yeah,
I like it for that. But in this lineup, which was like spicy or high proof stuff, it just got washed out.
It did. It definitely did. I love the finish of this one. I love Beam. I love the Beam profile. I love Booker's. I love Knob Creek. I love a lot of stuff from Beam. So like this one just, it always like seems to hit home, at least on the palate and finish. The nose, it always throws me off though, because I feel like the nose is much further away from the palate, or from the finish at least on this one. The finish kind of has those darker notes, but I feel like the nose seems so much sweeter and like light fruity, almost like cherry and vanilla and like caramel. But like, I don't know, it always just throws me off. But on the nose,
I would agree. I wrote Buffalo Trace, so
yeah. On the nose, is it finished? Yes or no? I said yes. Steve said no. So Steve gets a point there. It is not finished. However, on the tasting round, we also had, is it finished, yes or no? And I said no because I hedged my bet. And Steven said yes. So I got a point there and Steven did not. So they cancel out basically. And then finally, the proof of this, I guessed it was 113 proof. Steve guessed that it was 110 proof. And it is only 100 proof. So neither of us got points on that one. Like I said, that was definitely the biggest upset of the whole night. Last but not least, Glass D, the best glass of the entire night.
D was fantastic.
D, it was phenomenal, and for good reason. So I guessed it was Woodford Batch Proof. Steve guessed that it was Maker's FAE02, and the correct answer was Booker's 2202. So right here, many of you guys know that
that's my first Booker's.
Of Booker's. Is it really?
Yep.
So you've never even tasted any of them, or
no.
Really?
I've always heard they were overrated, and I've never seen one for a reasonable price ever. So I've just never bought one.
It's funny because even before I bought my first Booker's, I knew that it was overrated, but I was young, I was hunting, and I felt extremely lucky to find one. So I'm like, screw it, I'll buy it. Then I tasted it, and I fell in love. I mean, I it was the best one that I had up until that point. And then I did a review on it, and my review got the most views on my channel that I've ever gotten. It had way more than I normally get on reviews. So I'm like, okay, I love this bottle. It did great on my video because nobody reviews them anymore because they all think it's overrated. And honestly, the first bottle that I had, I paid $100 for, which is way overpriced. Don't even get me started. It's way overpriced. But it was worth it to me. I didn't even feel bad afterward. $100, I would have paid that again for that same bottle. Now, fast forward, this is a first Booker's I saw since then. That one was 2021-04, and this is 2022-02. So, this is Booker's 2202. It's called the Lumberyard Batch, and it is 62.4% alcohol. That's 124.8 proof. It's 7 years old, 1 month, and 7 days. So neither of us got a point.
110.
Yeah, neither of us got a point on the bottle guess. Now, on the price, I guessed that it was $70. Steve guessed that it was $60.
What, these are 90 now, right?
Well, I think I'm looking it up right now.
So what I will say is I like D a lot. I would be so happy if I could pay $80 for it. I know I wrote down 60 on here, but I would happily pay 80 for this.
For sure. Me too.
Maybe I would buy it for 90, but that's just because I know I could create content with it and people would want to watch it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go 200 with it though.
No, yeah. 100, it was my first Booker's. And like I said, when it's your first of anything, sometimes
you remember your first.
And yeah, you always remember your first. But MSRP, my phone said 90, but I don't think that's right because I paid $80 for this, and I've seen a lot of other people on WhiskeyTube. Namely, I know that it's Bourbon Night. They live in Kentucky. They bought it for 90, but then they went to another store and saw it for 80. So I guess 70. So either way, I don't get a point. And Steve guessed 60, so he doesn't get a point either. But
yeah, it looks like I'm pulling up 92. And 90, I think it's on the high end of a fair price, but shit's wild nowadays, so it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, definitely.
I liked it though. I think if I could get this for $80, I would, knowing what the bottle is and how good it is, I would buy it without hesitation.
I think part of the reason I got it for $80 and the reason I've been seeing it around for $80 is because I get them from big retail stores. Costco carries Booker's. And I don't know if you guys, I don't think anywhere else has a Woodman's, but Woodman's is in Wisconsin, and they're a huge grocery store, but they have the biggest liquor selection I've ever seen. And they also get Booker's. So, and those are the two cheapest stores that I shop at. Otherwise, I've seen this for $90 and $100, but I know I paid $80-ish for this. Independent Joe says can't find it cheaper than 90. Yeah, like I said, I think if you go to any store, it's going to be 90 or even 100 or 110. It's just
I'd pull the
you
trigger
get
on
lucky
90.
enough. Yeah.
If
you get lucky enough, you can get Costco or a big box store. Maybe even Total Wine might have it for cheaper. But yeah. So neither of us got
bought
the price.
Barrel Dovetail for $65 at Costco the other day.
Really?
Yeah. And like
Barrel
that's been a barrel product I've wanted to buy for a while. I just haven't gotten around to it. And I was like, dude, I can't pass up this just incredible deal.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're normally 90. So I was like, oh, $65. That's like almost like a third off.
Costco literally has the deals. It's just that they only get things once and they bulk buy it. And as soon as people find out it's there, it's fucking sold out the next day.
Yeah, the local group will be like, hey, it's at Costco. Hey, everyone go buy it. And then by the time
Wisconsin Fine Whiskey Fanatics, like that's the name of the Facebook, the big Facebook group, or Wisconsin Bourbon Club. And then someone posts on Facebook like $60 at Costco. And then you go there 2 hours later and like all like 20 of them that were there are gone. It's like, well, that's awesome.
Well, in Arizona, it's more like they'll get like 100 or 200 bottles of it. And if it's something that's like limited or allocated, it's gone within an hour or two. Like, the first second someone posts it, within an hour, it is gone.
Out of sight. Yeah. So Steve and I both guessed corn, wheat, barley. And it is corn, rye, barley.
It smelled wheated on the nose. It smelled soft.
I definitely have like a bready aspect to it. But if I remember, this is a very like I mean, a lot of Bookers have that kind of profile, but it just has like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's so sweet and dark and viscous and full-bodied. And I mean, I think almost like I think the note that I'm getting, that bready note, falls more into like the cereal category, like Honey Nut Cheerios or like graham crackers or something.
More cereal than bread.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of like a really sweetened.
It's grainy, but like a sweet, sugary grain instead of like an earthy baked grain.
Exactly. But it is nonetheless phenomenal. Now we're moving on.
Yeah, even smelling it again, it's for sure like I'm 100%. It's weeded.
I know. It honestly has that palate note or that nose that it just smells like it's a weeded bourbon, but it's not. I guessed 9 years. Steve guessed 8 years. It is 7 years, 1 month, and 7 days, and that means that Steven gets a point because he was within 1 year. So I do not get a point at 9 years. Steve does at 8 years. So he gets +1, making it a very close match. But unfortunately,
I think he beat me by 1 point.
Yes. I said it was Woodford. Steve said it was MGP, and it is Beam. So that being said, I got a total of 5 points tonight. Steve got a total of 4 points tonight. I ended up winning. However, in the grand scheme of things, if we were playing my normal game, both Steve and I would be drinking Malort. So I can't say either of us really won anything.
I don't have Malort, but I have a Broken Barrel small batch bourbon, and it tastes like soap. It's probably not as bad as Malort, but it's pretty not great.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to make you drink that, mainly because I don't want to drink Malort tonight. But if I would
you have to, though.
If I would have known that you hadn't had Malort, I 100%, like, without a doubt, would have put Malort in your package. I mean, I have 2 bottles of it.
Don't.
I have 2 bottles of Malort, and I have Malort spritzers, like cans of like a seltzer of Malort, which tastes horrible, by the way.
Why?
Well, I was in Chicago, and like it's new. It's like, oh, Malort spritz, like it's a seltzer, but it tastes like Malort, and I'm like, Well, I mean, I'm sure everyone's going to want to see me drink it, so I bought it. And it tastes like you have Malort, and you just added some sparkling. It literally is Malort plus sparkling water. Has the same taste and same aftertaste, and it's just horrible. It's just not as bad as the real thing. But yeah, that being
just
said,
sounds terrible.
It's not good. Yeah, I mean, good match though. Honestly, 1 point is definitely not much to brag about. For me,
no,
I won it and I had home field advantage. If I didn't have that, okay, get this. I got 5 points, and 3 of them was from this malted rye, and that's
because you
because of
killed
home
it with
field
that
advantage.
one.
Yeah.
That one's just so weird. That's what I've loved about where I'm at with my whiskey journey is I'm past like things like this and whatever. Like I have this, it's great, it's fantastic, it's reliable, it's consistent. So is most Kentucky bourbon. That being said, like weird stuff like that malted rye, that's the kind of stuff I covet nowadays because it's just different. It's significantly different. Like even Booker's. Yeah, it was better than everything else here, but was it like wildly different? No,
Right.
it was
a better version of everything.
A better put together version of any bourbon we tried today, but it was nothing like wild or different. And like things like that New Riff malted rye, that's just wild and different. Like I'd rather hunt weird stuff just to say I experienced it and to kind of like learn something from that than hunt like a Booker's or whatever the heck.
And honestly, like I'm almost in the same boat. While I still do all the hunting and all that kind of stuff, I actually had this conversation with both Lauren and Bourbon Neophyte, Anthony. Is you almost like you get to a point where you're looking more for experiences and differences and stuff. And with Anthony, we were talking about Scotch, and I was talking about how I used to not like peated Scotch, and then I ended up having Highland Park 12, and I thought it was awesome. And then I had Ardbeg 10, and I thought it was awesome. And it's different than the stuff I typically drink, and I like that. And then I was talking to Lauren, and I don't know if you were aware, but Sugar Kitty was having some kind of surgery or something. And so we decided to send him a little bottle of whiskey and just like a get well soon card. And she was trying to think of things to send him, and she was like, well, I know he likes this, and I know he likes this. And I'm like, well, the thing about people who drink whiskey is they may like that, but if you're going to send them a sample and you have something they've never tried before, it's almost more fun to try something new than to get something you already like.
Yeah.
And so I ended up sending him the Brothers Bond Cask Strength because it's pretty allocated. I mean, they sell it on Reserve Bar, but that's the only place you can get it. And once they sell out, it's gone. And it's a lot better than people think. What's his name? Fred Minnick. Actually, Fred Minnick said that it was phenomenal bourbon, one of the best MGP blends he's ever had. And then he gave Ian Somerhalder, the Vampire Diaries guy who blended it, he gave him the award for best taster he's ever had, or best taster he's ever had on his show. So he clearly knows what he's doing, but I figured he would want something more unfamiliar and wild and like different than something he's normally had, because an experience of something you've never had before is almost a lot better than, whiskey that you'll enjoy. I don't know. It's all about new experiences and trying something new and trying something weird. And like you said, American single malts, or for me, like I've had no Texas whiskey, like doing anything from Texas or anything like that. So
Texas is a good one to get into.
Yeah. I mean, weird things. I have never backed away from trying something new. I've drank Malort a gazillion times. I drank a lot of different gins just because, like, while I don't necessarily like the way gin tastes, I want to see if, like, the differences between good gins, bad gins. I've had a lot of ryes. I've had some scotches. I've had some cognacs. I've had a lot of experiences. But overall, bourbon's just my favorite, which is why I stick to it. But I will never shy away from trying new things. And yeah, I mean, that's just kind of how I feel about that. Old Trail Rye, 100% malted rye. Get it.
Speaking of what Independent Joe just brought up in chat, next time we do this, for sure, we'll follow. I think we should follow the Independent Joe rules, because that's something I learned from. I invited him on my channel the other day to do basically something similar, like a hey guessing game.
Right.
I clapped his cheeks. Not because I'm a better whiskey taster, just because I had a huge, significant home field advantage.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So, for sure, next time we'll do like I'll send you something, you send me something, and we'll do it on the same thing, because I like your rules. That was a lot of fun doing the whole 4-time guessing stuff.
Right, yeah. And honestly, like, for you and I doing a live stream together, having not talked very often and getting to like ask each other questions and stuff, this is a long stream. I mean, I normally don't go this long, but for me and Lauren, it's like when I'm one guy just pounding this out, this is a perfect length of questions for me to get to like that hour and a half ish or to 2 hours that I really like to be at for a live stream. I mean, this is running a little bit long, but I'm having fun. I mean, this was a great game, and I liked doing this. But I'm always open to like, yeah, trying new things. Like you said, if we do Independent Joe's rules, and he's asking me to battle him on his channel, I'm 100%.
Which you should go and kick his ass.
Yes. Also, if you guys aren't subscribed to Independent Joe, you should definitely do that. I'm assuming most of you guys are, because he's a great content creator, and a lot of people who follow me definitely follow him. And I think we kind of have this smaller circle of like people in WhiskeyTube, like you and me and Bourbon Neophyte and Independent Joe and like Stacey H and like Whiskey Wars Sean, and like a lot of us that all know each other and we watch each other's channels, and we have a lot of crossover viewers and stuff like that. So it's like it's all well and it's all good, and like great people, like I said earlier. So go check out Independent Joe if you guys aren't already subscribed, which I'm sure most of you are.
Yeah. And when you do go on his live stream, and if you do beat him and you thus feel compelled to talk shit, just let him know I sent you. That's all I request.
Well, I mean, realistically, I beat you, so bracket. In terms of brackets, I think I'm a seat above you. Although, like you said, home field advantage. Now, if you ended up coming, granted, you know the whiskeys. However, maybe if Alec picked out whiskeys for you next week and we did a 3-way, even if me and Alec are drinking the same things and you're not, but you're drinking something different. However you want to do it next week, or not next week, Thursday, right? For you?
Yeah, I can't do Wednesday, so it should theoretically be Thursday if Alec can make Thursday.
Yeah.
Things are complicated nowadays.
All right, yeah. Like I said, this Thursday, so like 2 days from now, obviously I'm free. Otherwise, every other Thursday, every other Thursday I have church classes. So either this Thursday or 2 weeks from now Thursday, whatever one you want to do. But I think we planned on this Thursday, right?
Yeah, in theory.
In theory. As long as nothing falls through.
Yeah. Because I can't tomorrow, but Thursday for sure if Alec can do it, which is kind of hit or miss because he has school stuff due and a kid, so things are kind of up in the air for him. Yeah.
Understandable. But yeah, I'll definitely look forward to that. And like I said, if you decide you want to do another game and have a little bit of a rematch, I'm always down. That way, who knows? Maybe I'll beat you twice, and I'll go into Independent Joe's feeling confident, and otherwise, I'll end up feeling. Otherwise, you'll beat me. It'll be 1v1, and it'll be a whole thing. One of these days, we can have a smaller scale Matt Madness tournament, but it'll just be like us kind of smaller channels. I don't want to call us small. We're all doing pretty good for ourselves, but we don't have, 100,000 subscribers like, Bourbon Junkies and them. So,
yeah, we're not making Matt Madness anytime soon.
Yeah, exactly. Although you did have a vote on Matt Madness last year. I just remember he was spinning the wheel for deciding who he wanted or who was going to be, because he had picked extras this year for joining Matt Madness. He had some new people, and you had one vote. They were all based on his Patreon members voting people in, and Tipsy Whiskey Shenanigans had one vote on the wheel.
Guys, make it happen.
Some people had like 3 or 4 votes, but you did have one, so I was rooting for you. I was hoping you got on there. That would have been cool.
Make it happen. I mean, honestly, this year I wouldn't have been able to make it because I was in South Carolina becoming a drill sergeant. But, next year, make it happen.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Otherwise, like I said, I mean, one of us on these smaller whiskey tubes will definitely put together a whole tournament. We can have, you, me, Independent Joe, Anthony from Bourbon Neophyte. I sent him a blind, and we didn't play a game like this, but I did have him like guessing bottle guesses and like giving me notes. He was very good, like very good at it. So that'll be definitely a contender. Whiskey Wars, Sean, and a lot of people who would be down for it.
Yeah. Livewire for sure would be. I bet Shane from Storytime would be down. There's a bunch of people out there, I bet, who would love to get into that.
Oh, yeah. Independent Joe says,
do that.
Tipsy forgot what happened when he battled me on my channel.
Joe, I'm pretty sure I beat you.
Sounds like he's throwing shade.
It was close, just like this, but I'm pretty sure I beat you or you beat me by like 1.
Yeah, I mean, I beat you by 1, but like I said, it's not much to brag about, but someone still had to win. Just kidding.
I mean, I by no means am gonna be like the Shane or the
Grease.
No, okay, I'm not that bad, but
you're not cocky as hell.
I will like shit talk and get cocky when I win, but like when you win by like 1 or 2 points in a game like this, it's like like it's like any day of the week, like. But like if you win by like several, like, hey, I beat you by 10 points type situation, you're just like, eat shit. Yeah. I'm the best. I'm a freaking god.
If we could have even having home field advantage, even if I could have like guessed a couple more like good guesses on this one, even if it wasn't the bottles, if I could have just like pulled together at least like 4 or 5 more points, I would have like doubled your score. I could have been like,
I would have fully accepted it. I would have been like, okay, it is what it is. Like,
but this is definitely deserving of some kind of rematch on your channel, my channel, or in any kind of bracket situation that we end up doing. I mean, that was a pretty close match. So I definitely need more practice for sure. But like I said, home field advantage really helped me out with this guy right here.
Yeah, that new riff I like that one a lot.
Me too. I keep going back to it, and it just like, it definitely lives up to the way I bought it after seeing Bourbon Junkies review of it and they had talked like they wanted to marry the bottle, and I was like, okay, I'll try it. I'm not a huge rye, at least at the time, I wasn't a huge rye fan, and I bought it, and it ended up being like the favorite rye that I've ever had. So
isn't that like a $50 bottle too?
I think 60. I think around $60, but 100% worth it. It's 50 or 60, I guess, depending on where you buy it. Definitely worth it. You said you don't get New Riff by you? Is that?
No, we don't have any of those in our area. But if I saw that, I would for sure buy that without hesitation.
Well, maybe someday if I find one, I'll shoot you a text and ask you if you want it, and I can pick one up for you and mail it
I will pay for the shipping.
Deal. Yeah, I mean, I'll gladly.
Okay, Joe, what happened then? Remind me. It's been a while because that's before I went to the academy and whatnot. I was in the different studio. it's been a while, but I remember it being pretty close either which way. If not,
Man,
Joe, we have flights. We will settle this on the field, brother.
You guys are gonna have the biggest crowd of people watching too. I mean, awesome competition. I think
drama.
Yeah, friendly competition. I love the way the people in Matt Madness shit talk each other. I mean, between Dan and Grease and Sean and just making videos about each other. And I love the Shelf Turds like songs that they make about people. Is the best. I remember I watched the one with Cliffy's, Bourbon Bites on there, and like there's like the Cliffy bus thing. I thought that was hilarious.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, there's no reason why us, like I said, smaller Whiskey 2 people can't make our own bracket and have our own challenges and stuff. I think not only would it be a really fun idea, it would also be a really good exposure thing for a lot of us to like kind of blend together our viewerships and all that kind of stuff, and work our way up to something big and something that we do annually every year. Maybe Matt Madness, is a springtime thing near March. Maybe we can have the smaller thing, this time of year. We can just do it.
Call it like Joe Madness, like a fall.
Exactly. Yes, Jake. Jake says I gotta get back to you for the driftless pick. Yeah, I was gonna say earlier, I have no problem if I find whiskeys that other people can't find and they want me to send them out. Like, if you guys, I mean, a lot of people that I know, like at least on WhiskeyTube, are good for it. Like, Venmo me or whatever, I'll buy it for you and ship it out to you, and so you can get a bottle that you can't find otherwise. I have no problem doing that because I know Jake had wanted a driftless Glen, which is a Wisconsin bourbon, or sorry, a Wisconsin rye. It's a Wisconsin brand.
Wait, driftless Glen's from Wisconsin?
Yeah, driftless Glen is actually an area. It's kind of over near the Madison area of Wisconsin, but Driftless Glen Distillery is Wisconsin. It's the biggest, I believe, the biggest distillery in Wisconsin.
So I have their 90 proof bourbon and rye, and when I tasted their 90 proof bourbon and rye, I was like, these are good for like $40, but like I was like, I need to get this at cash strength.
Oh yeah,
they're good.
The funny thing is,
I like them.
They have so many different offerings too. I don't know how much distribution their other offerings get, but they have port finish, they have bourbon, barrel strength bourbon, rye. I think they might even have barrel strength rye somewhere. They have like a bunch of different kind of finishes and blends. They just came out with a wheated mash bill, and so a lot of store picks in the area have a wheated bourbon from them. Really cool stuff. And like I said, for Wisconsin, I think they're kind of the biggest brand. Funny, I don't have a bottle, but they're definitely one of the biggest Wisconsin brands.
From picking up their 90 proof, I would say go straight into cash strength, but that's just kind of how I am. If I could have purchased their cash strength first, I probably would have.
Right.
But
and,
I bought those online and I'm not disappointed even remotely. Like, I think I got them for $50 and I would have loved to got them for like 45 or 40, but that's just because I'm penny pinching at that point. But I'm not disappointed for buying them the way I did. And I think they're good. And I've only heard great things about them.
Yeah. Being a Wisconsin distillery, it's like, I'll gladly pay a little bit extra and support them. I have other Wisconsin distilleries on like my shelf. I don't have them only because they're so widely known that I feel like I don't have to support them as much. And like I said, they're down in Madison. That's about a 3-hour drive from Green Bay. So that's a hike for me. I've never been to the distillery, but all these other distilleries I've actually been to in Wisconsin. But yeah, they make good stuff.
You gotta go.
I've tried their mainstay, and it was phenomenal. And I've heard amazing things about their other stuff too. So I'll probably end up going. My whole thing is I want to go when I get a new camera and do kind of a blog or a vlog type situation where I can like show people the distillery and meet with like people who make it, the master distillers, talk to them and taste some stuff and do like a YouTube thing while I'm there. I think that would be great. But I want to get a little bit more professional of a setup than just a GoPro from 10 years ago.
Yeah, I get you on that one.
Independent Joe seems to be ready to take you on again, Steve. So,
well, me and Joe are about to go. We're about to go out. I have his samples. I mean, I work this weekend and the next 4 weekends, but Joe, you have my number. We'll figure this out, buddy. But you're going down.
That's the official shit talking has started.
Yep.
Steve's going to be coming out with videos pretty soon, making rap songs about Independent Joe.
For sure not. I cannot make rap music or anything of that nature.
I think I could. I don't. Honestly, rap is one of the most listened to music types for me. And not even because, I think it's just because it's complex. Like whiskey, you can listen to it 50 times in a row, and on the 51st time, you can hear something that they say, and you just you didn't catch it the first 50 times, but on the 51st time, you're just like, oh, that clever bastard. He just rhymed this with this, and he means this, double entendres and that stuff. But yeah, I just went back to the burning chair, and honestly, it held up pretty nicely. And one thing that I like, I know you've had Savage and Cook stuff, but this cork is all glass. Like the whole bottle is just this nice, fancy see-through glass. I love that.
I have complicated opinions about the glass cork. I like it, and I think it's sexy or whatever, but it's such a pain in the ass to remove the cork from it because it has a real seal.
I know. I've noticed that.
It's so hard.
You're trying not to smash the glass against the glass and make that obnoxious clinking noise when you take the cork out, but at the same time you're it's hard, but I think it's done pretty, it doesn't leak, which I was surprised by. I mean, granted, it's a brand new bottle, but the fact that it actually has a decent seal and being a glass cork, I think that at least the elegance is there, and it holds a tight seal. So, it is what it is.
Mm-hmm. Also, Joe, yes, I know. Well, I need to message you. I'm thinking next week, but we'll talk offline. Push and pull to the side. Does that work?
Yeah, I mean, it still clinks against the glass, but if you just push it with your thumb, then you can just pull it right out, and that's a good idea, Peter White. Thank you. And by the way, I never said hi to you when you jumped in here, so cheers, Peter White. Thanks for stopping in.
Cheers. Cheers.
All right. I think it's about that time. 2 hours and 47 minutes. That is, I believe, the second longest live stream that I've ever done.
This is by far the long. Before this, my longest live stream was 2 hours.
Well, my longest was 3 hours, but that was on Anthony's channel, Bourbon Neophytes. This is the longest one that I've done on my channel. But you know what? Fun times and lots of good whiskey drank. I think that Lauren did a good job of picking these bad boys out.
I like that Booker's.
Yeah, the Booker's was good. I mean, like I said, another thing I was going to tell you earlier, if it makes you feel any better about how much you love this Booker's, while I put this behind my other Booker's that I got, it could be sentimental value, but even in blind, I put this one behind that one. But it's bourbon night, Chad and Sarah. They're Booker's lovers, notably. And they've been doing this a long time. They have a lot of bottles from 2017, 18, 19. And so what they did is they did a blind. It was three of their favorite bottles from either 2017, 18, 19, 20. And then they put in this one against those other three. And they did it in blind, fully expecting that this one would do the worst because those other ones, the old Bookers were supposed to be so great and phenomenal. And they put it all in a blind, and this one won. So if that tells you how good this bottle is supposed to be, then maybe that helps you sleep at night about you passing any other Bookers. But I personally think bookers are good. So that being said, that is the end of the stream.
Yes.
Guys, if you guys haven't checked out Tipsy Whiskey Shenanigans by now, Steven and then Alec on the live streams, always great people over there. Please click on any of the links up in the channel or up in the comments earlier tonight, or just go and search your channel up. It's not hard to find. Type in Tipsy Whiskey Shenanigans. You'll find it right away. Great people. Go subscribe to their channel and support them. Watch all their videos. Like all their videos. Comment on all their videos because that helps more than you guys know. Also, if you guys haven't liked and subscribed to my channel and this video, please like this video, subscribe to this video, and anybody else in the chat, Independent Joe, I know Stacy H was on here earlier, anyone else who stopped in tonight, go check them out and make sure that you guys subscribe.
For sure. Tipsy? Independent Joe and Stacy.
Yeah.
I think that's about it, but you know.
Yep.
Cheers.
Tipsy, thanks for stopping in. Steven, glad to have you. This was fun. Like I said, everybody be sure to tune in to Tipsy Whiskey Shenanigans on this Thursday. As long as the plans don't fall through, the plan is that I go on his channel and we do some kind of blind thing. So, right?
Yeah. If not this weekend, it's going to happen at some point. We'll let you know on the social medias.
Yes, for sure. Keep in tune with Instagram and all that kind of stuff. All the links are in my description. Go check out Tipsy Whiskey Shenanigans. And thank you guys for joining in. This was a great stream. Thank you again, Stephen, for joining me on this one. And we'll see you all in the next class. Have a good night, everybody.
Cheers, y'all.